Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. I was doing something simultaneously. What are you laughing about?
I could hear it. I don't know if it went out over the mic, but I could hear it.
I don't think it did.
I could hear the bass of it go.
I have a speaker called a Braven that I listen to my music on when I'm show prepping, and I sometimes forget to take it off, and it's Bluetooth. And so I could be in the middle of doing this show, and it's going to go, it's going to do something weird like if my phone rings. See if I can subtly reach over here and turn off my Braven, and then you heard it and made me laugh.
Well, Matthew was laughing too because we could feel it, the bass of it, because you don't leave that thing on like minimum volume.
Oh no, I'm kicking ass with that thing.
Yes.
We're listening to some music.
The whole building hears it.
Yeah, that's right. You're welcome. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen there live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do, all 3 hours going to be posted upon the conclusion of the show, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email us, jcs at 979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's at jcameronshow. I didn't get back in a timely fashion, according to somebody, and they were bothered by it. They'd sent me a question, a guy by the name of Joe, and then I guess I didn't get back to him as fast as he wanted me to, and he wrote back, okay, good talk. So, sometimes it happens that way. I don't live on the device, man. I'm not constantly on the Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm
No, you're supposed to be on there and answer everything the moment that people send you questions.
No, I get perturbed. You can, as I said, email us, jcs at 979espnradio.com, and WTSM app is a really good app. I've been talking about this app for ages. You really should experience it for yourself. It's an amazing app.
Wait a minute. You know, I've used many streaming apps, but this one of the best.
Yeah. WTSM is a free app, and you can listen to the show that way, and you can also find archived audio. We're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and again on Twitter at ESPN at 979 ESPN Radio. There it is. You'll find us, and you can watch the show that way too. Knowles win, as I predicted they would last night. There you go. Another ho-hum prediction come true. What an amazing run these days. But that was an easy one. Florida State better beat Georgia Tech at home. And listen, I don't take for granted ACC wins. We're not that good. We're not so good that you can do that, and I'm aware of it. So I'm happy about it. But I do think relatively highly of this team and their chances to make the NCAA tournament. And I said that before the season began. And if you're an NCAA tournament team, then you win this game at home against Georgia Tech. And Florida State did. And I was really pleased with the way that certainly the first half ended, the amazing run that the Noles go on there, and fueled by Terrence Mann's explosion, and really, really happy with that run, because you need your elite players to play elite in certain moments, in pivotal moments of games, and he did. He steps up. It ends up being a half that's pretty interesting, by the way. 50 points scored for Florida State. 42 of those 50 are scored by either Mann, Kofor, or Angola. So the three guys that you need to count on to be consistent performers stepped up big. And really, yes, I get it. At varying points in the second half, Georgia Tech cuts it down a little bit. But basketball is, as they say, a game of runs. Teams aren't going to usually just get boat raced from start to finish. So you have to anticipate that Georgia Tech's going to come out and play well in that second half. And they do early. Hamilton calls the timeout rightly. And Florida State gets it back on track at one point, really extending the lead. I think it was to 14 at one point with about 10 minutes to play. And the game was over. I know it gets down to 68-60, but the game was over. And Florida State goes on to win the game 88-77. Evening up the record in the ACC at 4-4, 15-5. And now it's Miami, who won in overtime over Louisville down in Coral Gables. This should be a great atmosphere on Saturday, folks. Let's pack that place. The TLC-CC should be rocking Saturday. It's a rival, and it's a huge game.
Tip of the cap to Las Vegas, because last night's game, when it opened up, it was around 11 and 11.5 points, and the final margin was 11 for Florida State. So those guys keep on keeping on.
Yeah, Vegas is something.
Incredible how that works. But, yeah, this game Saturday should be a lot of fun, because we found an offensive swagger again in different ways from different players. Obviously, last night was Terrence Mann's night, but Angola has been consistent, and that's great. MJ Walker's come on the last couple of games, and, again, he didn't follow up with back-to-back 20-point performances, But the 9 points he scored came in big situations in the second half, and that's a continuation of a trend where he's scoring in big moments for us. And that's what McDonald's All-Americans can do. You just can't always count on them in their freshman year to do that. So he's confident. Need to get C.J. Walker going a little bit, but M.J. Walker looks pretty good. And then you just got a little bit of foul trouble issue down low. With our big, obviously.
This wasn't a great game for Kamaji because he didn't match up well in the sense that there's a smaller team, quicker team, and he really kind of struggled out there and got himself in foul trouble.
But it's a piece you have back against Miami for, with full health, and that's an important piece to have. And so, in watching some of that Miami-Louisville game last night, that was highly entertaining. They should be coming in feeling pretty good about themselves, and we feel a whole lot better about ourselves than we did when we got on a plane to go to Blacksburg. That's for sure.
Well, hey, here's the deal: Miami is 15-4 overall. They've won 2 straight. They had an RPI of 15. They're 4-3 in the ACC. They're a good basketball team. Obviously, they beat us earlier this year. They're only 3.5 games back in the conference. So you gotta step up and play exceptionally well, or you will get beat. Miami's pretty good. The way this stretch looks now for Florida State, it was important that they won these 2 games. And it'll be important, they got an opportunity here to win 2 more before they go through a really brutal stretch when they face Clemson a couple times. They got a game against Louisville and Virginia and obviously this weekend against Miami. So you've got big games that if you can get to 6-4 and kind of brace yourself here, that would make you 17-5, 6-4 in the ACC. You'd be sitting pretty as we come down the home stretch to play a little bit of 500 basketball, and you're gonna make the NCAA tournament without question. And really, that's what this season was about. If you look big picture at Florida State basketball, the idea here is that in the latter years of Leonard Hamilton's career, the waning years of Leonard Hamilton's career, I mean, he's not going to coach forever. I know he looks like he's 40, even though he's nearly 70 or is 70 or whatever he is. We are towards the end of his time here. What I want for him and what I think the program needs and what we have to find is consistency here, becoming a team of significance annually. And teams of significance are teams that make the NCAA tournament annually. And if the Noles can put together 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row where you make the NCAA tournament, then he'll leave this place certainly much better than he found it. And, there's some down years in there and some debate about all of that and whether or not we should have moved on and all of those things. That's fine. But by and large, he will have had one hell of a run here, and Florida State will be in a good place. My worry at the end of last year when they won 26 games, and there was really nothing negative to be said other than the second-round loss in the NCAA tournament. But anytime you lose in the tournament, as I've said before, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and only one team gets out of that tournament having won every game. So the point is, can you give me some consistency? And when you're losing NBA talent, literally NBA talent, like Florida State did, there was a real question about whether or not it was going to be a one-year blip where you'd say the preceding years weren't good, didn't make the tournament, nearly got fired, or at least certainly a lot of fans wanted it to happen. You and I openly said, hey, maybe we need to look at that option. It was maybe going to be time.
Yeah.
Put together one hell of a year.
Philosophy change was the main reason, yeah.
Right. So then they go crazy, win every single game they play here at home and win 26 games and obviously make that tournament, in that drought, and win that first game and move on. I thought, gosh, can you keep that momentum going here, get another season going back to this tournament? But right now, you got to be pretty happy. I mean, you're sitting with an RPI at 41. You've won 2 straight. You're 15-5 on the season. You've played a good schedule. You're 4-4 in the conference. It's a great league filled with ranked teams. This is you got to be happy where you're at right now with work to be done.
Yeah, on the heels of last night, how do you feel now about Saturday? You saw what you saw, ho-hum. You take care of business. We had a professionalism about us last night.
Yeah, I thought so. 55-45 remains my thing there.
Okay.
I like us at home. I really do. You have the one misstep in the second half of the Louisville game where you blow a big lead. It turns out Louisville's really good. And so, Louisville sits in the conference at 5-2, and that's not a bad loss for Louisville at all on the road in overtime to Miami last night, and they're in the top 20 RPI. So you don't have a bad loss, at least in terms of whom you lost to, but you do in the way that you did in the second half. But in retrospect, again, we're really good at home, and there are spurts that are fueled by the momentum and obviously the that incredible rush you get when the fans get into it, when the students get into it. They usually lead the charge, and you can watch these guys respond. And so there are going to be trying moments come this weekend because Miami's good, and they are not going to be afraid, and they'll come in here thinking they're going to win the game too. And Florida State's going to have to battle because you can't have lulls like we've had at times this year and expect to win. Now, maybe it works out this particular game. Every game is different. But obviously, usually if you go through some stretches where you're not playing real well, the better teams take advantage of that. They make runs that you can't overcome. Miami's one of those teams that could do that. So you got to play well.
The way we can play defense sometimes, or by and large that we do play defense, I guess I should say, and the lack of consistency on the glass. Yeah, if you don't bring your shooting shoes, you got problems. But I feel pretty good about Saturday. Just looking at the way they approached last night, they weren't looking ahead. That tells me they believe they're good enough to handle business one game at a time. Hopefully that's the case. We'll see. But if they win this game on Saturday, if they beat Miami on Saturday, I think we're going to go over 500 in ACC play. And that is surefire in the tournament. And now let's see what kind of noise we can make in the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament kind of fun.
Well, okay, so if you're one of these people that you're always worried and you see the demise around the corner at every turn, or if you lose a couple of games, that's it. It's time for the NIT trolley, Jeff, one of those guys. What you're doing now is you're looking at the number of games that remain and you're saying what has to be done. Just tell me what we need, Jeff, to get into the damn tournament. I'm not living and dying with this basketball team, but what do we need to do? Well, again, given the RPIs of the teams in this conference and who Florida State still has to play with the wins that they already have under their belt with their current record, so you take the whole resume. You've got the 4th-rated RPI team, number 2 ranked team in the country, still on your schedule in Virginia. Obviously, you played well in that game against Duke that you lost on the road at Cameron. They're the number 1 RPI team. You lost to Louisville, who's a top 20 RPI, but you do play them again. You've got Clemson twice. They actually have the 6th-rated RPI in the country. So you got 2 games against them. And then Miami comes in this weekend with the 15th-rated RPI. You've got 4 wins. If you get that win over Miami, you'll have 5 wins in the conference. You'll be a top 30-something in the RPI. You'll be 16-5 with Wake Forest on the horizon. Wake Forest is 1-7, folks, in the ACC. They're 8-12 overall. They've lost 6 straight games. They are in tank mode. You win that game, which you should, you're going to be 6-4 in the ACC. You only need, in my opinion, 3, maybe 2 more wins the rest of the way. It's not easy. Miami, Virginia, Louisville, and Clemson twice, which remain on the schedule. But you also have Pitt here that you're going to beat. Pitt is 0-8 in the ACC. They're 0-4 at home, 0-4 on the road, 0 for the world. Lost 8 straight. Not any good. Lost again last night. You've got that game still on the ledger that you can win. And the Wake game, which I mentioned.
Yeah.
BC again.
NC State on the road.
Well, and BC here.
Yeah.
So you've got some winnable games there, and if you just win the ones you're supposed to, you're going to get to 9 wins, which is going to get you to 500, which is most assuredly going to get you in the NCAA tournament.
Sure. And I want to be the Zen master on this team. I said I want to change and be Mr. We'll see.
Yeah.
However, if you beat Miami again, if you beat them on Saturday, not again, but
it's
if you
big if, of course.
But to make the point again, if you beat Miami on Saturday, that's a better indicator about who we are. Now, with context, it would appear that 3-game slide, right, is more about it's a blip on the radar because you have how many more games of evidence showing what we are offensively and what the high end of what we can do is. Because then you've beaten North Carolina, Miami, Florida on the road. You stayed and hung tight with Duke on the road. Yeah, you blew it against Louisville, but Louisville's a pretty good basketball team. You're playing right there with them. I mean, all of this evidence would stack up to point to we're actually pretty damn good. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. But if Florida State wins this game, they do so in our style. It's not a weird game.
I don't care how they win it. I don't care if they win 41-40 or they're 150-149. You win the game Saturday.
I'd like to see us win our way.
Well, of course, I have preferences, but I am not. We're not in a position to just say about a win, well, wasn't the kind of win.
Of course not. No, my point is, but if we win doing what we do well, that's an indicator that, okay, we're for real. It's not, this wasn't, a couple of flukes, and then, we played tough games the rest of the way.
Florida State, I said before the year that not having a guy that you had to defer to was going to be a good thing. But I did admit that, listen, I think that's true. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
You know, you can't know for sure. Well, last night, you know, it's fun to watch because I know man does what he does. But like we pointed out, you have little stretches there. Kofor early on, first half, has a really good performance and is kind of keeping you in it, treading water there while you're not playing so well. Kofor is the guy that allows for that. You have a stretch in the second half. Now, again, we all know what man did, which was amazing. But you have a stretch in the second half there where MJ Walker, who doesn't have a huge night, but hit some big baskets, and as you pointed out, a couple really nice passes in critical moments.
Yes.
Angola hits a big shot to end a Georgia Tech run, basically, and put the game away. And by and large, when we've had to step to the line in critical moments of basketball games and make free throws lately, we've done that as well. So you're seeing that balance we talk about where you don't have to defer and there isn't one guy. At times it hurts you at the end of the game not to have a guy that you know can get his shot off the bounce and whether it's getting to the basket or knocking down a jump shot. But, again, I like the balance of this team.
Well, the places for danger last night, you know, on the glass, a lot of second chance points for Georgia Tech. I mean, they were rebounding right at or above 50% of their misses for a good portion of this game. I think they finished just below 50% of their misses for the night. And then the free throw line itself for Georgia Tech, I mean, they're hitting their free throws left and right, and this game has a ton of whistles in it. So everybody's going to the line, you know, with how many minutes left in the first half, a bunch, and they're hitting their shots. They're hitting their free throws. And that's how you see it. Sometimes it's lost in the box score. You go, well, they shot 38% for the night. How do they, you know, stay in this game? Oh, wow, they shot 15 more free throws, and they hit, you know, 12 more of them than the other team did, and that's the hidden stat. But we were able to keep up. Obviously, we scored at an incredible rate from the field, but you're right. In the details of the game, on a night where we only hit 5 3-pointers at the line, we are money, and that's important.
Yeah, we continue to shoot the ball well right now. That's exciting to watch because I think that's a better revelation of what we did early in the season. There will be 6 people giving speeches in late July. Baseball Writers of America, Association of America. I think that's right, BWAA.
Yeah.
Chipper Jones, Vlad Guerrero, Jim Tomei, Trevor Hoffman, congratulations as they joined Jack Morris and Alan Trammell, who were elected in December by the Modern Era Committee. So Baseball Hall of Fame talk. We got to get into that a little bit because there are some discrepancies here, as there always is, and this is the time of year where we get into that discussion about who should be in, who shouldn't be, and will the steroid guys get in?
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Try switching to natural gas. The City of Tallahassee offers rebates on natural gas appliances. To find out if natural gas is available in your area, visit talgov.com/YOU. Check out the City of Tallahassee's Ceiling Insulation Grant Program. The city may pay up to 80% of the installation's cost, up to $400. Having an energy-saving winter is easy with all of these great products and services. Call 891-4U. That's 891-4968 to learn more and be winter ready.
your pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Customers constantly tell us that they're getting several estimates to compare apples to apples. You ever bite into an apple and find out the inside is rotten? Cheap roofing quotes are just like that rotten apple. Quote looks shiny and delicious because it's the cheapest, right? But you wind up with that rotten apple that leaks or starts to fail immediately. All roofing quotes are not equal. Cheap estimates equal cheap materials, subpar labor, or both. For quality that lasts, call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
When you don't have a big marketing budget, you have to wait until the opportunity is just right. Well, consider this your opportunity alarm going off. Vistaprint semi-annual sale has arrived with up to 50% off site-wide, including custom postcards, signs, invitations, posters, and more. And with tons of business card options like Square Cards, now's the time to get huge savings on them too. Make the most of this opportunity. Go to Vistaprint.com by January 30th and enter the promo code SAVEBIG.
You're up before O Dark 30. You don't ask for medals or even a pat on the back. But if all your hard work is indeed its own reward, then consider the new Ram Limited Tungsten Edition as a bonus. Natura Plus leather seating, premium projector headlamps, suede headliner, packaged in the highly capable, hard-working truck you'd expect from Ram. Keep doing what you do, but who says you can't do it in a nicer truck? The new Ram Limited Tungsten, the most luxurious Ram truck ever. Ram is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that Kraft Nissan has been designated by Thanks a Bunch, a nonprofit 501c3 military charity, as Tallahassee's exclusive Hero Appreciation dealer. Kraft Nissan will be honoring all of our friends and neighbors who are active and retired military, as well as all area first responders, including police, firefighters, and paramedics, now through Wednesday, January 31st, by giving away free $50 gift cards to these American heroes. These gift cards are good at over 25,000 restaurants nationwide and over 40,000 online choices. So please come to Kraft Nissan now through the end of the month for our first ever Hero Appreciation Week. And because this is a very heartfelt week for us, Kraft Nissan will offer the best deals on all of our new and used cars and trucks to all of our customers during this event. But just for joining us, Kraft Nissan will give a free $50 gift card to a local military or first responder with no purchase necessary. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. See dealer for details. Some conditions apply.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. All right, well, Braves fans, you knew that was coming, right? Chipper Jones overwhelmingly. And there, Tom, I know you stood and applauded. When you...
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, he's not coming back, huh? Good.
Great headline in New York today, though.
Go to Hall, Larry?
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry Jones.
Yeah. That's a doffing of the cap. That's as nice as you could, pay tribute to an arch nemesis, right?
Yeah, I think we gave him some sort of ovation for his last at-bat. Yeah. Like, all right, now get the hell out of here.
Yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, that guy, I joke about it. I was watching the highlights last night of his career. First of all, remember the very, 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 very skinny version of Chipper Jones when he's so young and comes into the league? And he remained lean, but he was a skinny dude, and it is a gorgeous swing. His first home run against you guys happened to be the first home run of his career.
That's correct.
And it was in the ninth of a tie game, so fitting as to what was going to happen. A great representation of what was about to happen over the course of the next 19 years.
Yeah, never hit another clutch home run against the Mets ever again.
But anyhow, that ball is murdered. Did you watch that highlight? Did you?
Oh, no, I can guess. I can guess how it went.
It's the old Shea.
Yeah.
It's the old Shea. It's upper tank down the right field line, and it is hammered.
Must have had help.
And it's no, the best part about it is listening to your announcers at the time saying that is no way to ingratiate yourself to your skipper, because apparently your reliever went out there and it's like first pitch after you guys had just tied the game in the bottom of the eighth. It's just boom, and that thing is screaming. Anyhow, obviously, it's not shocking to see him get in. It's not shocking to see Vlad get in, and Vlad always was one of my favorite players because he was so unorthodox and goofy to watch in a way, but also to marvel at. We all know he's a bad ball hitting extraordinaire, but his story is a great story. To be so broke that and go read Tim Kirch and guys like that who document these guys' Hall of Fame careers and how they arrived. And some of these guys who come from the Dominican and other poorer countries overcome odds that are unimaginable to the rest of us. And to read those stories, it warms the heart. I mean, Vlad rode his bike to a tryout in which he's wearing two different shoes that didn't fit him. And he had to stuff socks into one of the shoes just to be able to put it on his foot. And apparently within minutes of that tryout, of seeing him and seeing, the skill set, the scout went, yes, him, whoever that kid is, we got to sign him. But to think about, I mean, that's your chance. This is that moment. You've got nothing. This is it. You got to show and prove now, or you're going to live a life of hardship.
Well, that's sports in general, but
it's a beautiful story. Man.
But even more, in this circumstance, given his background, where he comes from, because in 5-10 minutes, however long it is, he can square up a baseball and a bat. And let's say he has a bad day. What happens if he has a bad day?
Yeah, or he's nervous.
Right, exactly.
I mean, in the moment you might be.
But because he can do this thing that's obscure, if you had somebody just beam down from space and say, what the hell is this? Well, this is worth $500 million over the course of his career. That's what we're watching right now. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I love those stories, though.
It just changes your fate forevermore. Yeah.
It's cool, and it's something that when you read the stories of those that make the Hall of Fame, you find is one of the aspects of baseball that I always embrace and enjoy, because it's that game, right? That game that can be played by people who are flat broke, because you don't need a lot. You need a baseball. You need basically some sort of bat. But, I mean, you can showcase your wares in a game like this no matter where you're from and how poor you are. And it can be that you end up making the freaking Hall of Fame.
Yeah, milk cartons for gloves, right? I mean, you hear stories about weird stuff that players use, but and the imperfections about where they came from, that makes them all the better by the time they get to a manicured field. I mean, they get to a single A field, they go, wow, this is beautiful.
Imagine the first time you put a nice glove and a nice pair of shoes and a real bat in their hands, and they've had nothing. They've had to make do. Players that come from poor countries have had to make do. They've had to, or poor neighborhoods, whatever it is, right? I don't know this, but I would guess that if you had an opportunity to talk to guys like that, they'd tell you they almost felt like it was an unfair advantage. Like, well, this is unbelievable. I mean, I get to hit with something that's like, oh, okay, I'm going to mash. I mean, I've been hitting with a twig.
I've been hitting well.
I've been hitting
to all fields.
Rocks with a twig and no shoes on.
All fields, I mean, like everywhere in this alley.
Well, and in the case of Vlad Guerrero, whether it bounced up there or was thrown over his head or behind him, he could hit it. Chipper's in, Vlad's in. Jim Thome, interesting storyline with Jim Thome. You and I always use him as an interesting case. Pull up Jim Thome's statistics. I'll get to him momentarily.
Okay.
Jim Thome in, Trevor Hoffman in, Jack Morris. Alan Trammell had already been elected in December by the Modern Era Committee. So 6 players giving speeches in late July, and all great players, by the way. You go back, and every year when this happens, you look at other players and you say, well, why him and not him? And if this guy's in, then this guy also has to be in, and yet he's not. And for me, I bring up this. I'll bring it up again later. A couple of guys, first of all. I don't know. Jeff Kent must have been the most surly, terse individual to deal with for the press because they hate his ass. I mean, 14%? It's ridiculous. As a second baseman, he's the all-time home runs leader at the position. He has more RBIs than Vlad Guerrero. He won an MVP, I might add. He's got 14% of the vote, and Craig Biggio's in the Hall of Fame? What the hell are we doing here? It's ridiculous.
Letting in the right people, that's what we're doing.
Well, it's just ridiculous. And when I see stuff like that, I go, well, come on, man. This is not what you do. That's now, look, he's a guy that, he'll get a chance. He's got a lot more opportunities to get in. He's got 5 years left. But, man, that percentage is scary low for him.
You know, it's funny as you pull up these people, and of course it stands to reason because they're in the Hall of Fame. But you pull up a baseball reference page for a Hall of Famer.
Like Jim Thome.
And like the screen's not big enough because their career goes forever and a day.
Yeah.
But of course it does because they're going to be in the Hall of Fame. But Jim Thome, I mean, he played from age 20 to age 41.
Yeah, straight doing it for 21 years.
Straight doing it.
Straight doing it for 21 years. Doing it well. 21 years. So give me the dominant arc.
Okay. Well, it starts relatively early in his career. One of his more impressive years is the first, real chance he gets. In 1994, he plays only 98 games, but he hits 20 home runs. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the numbers stay, pedestrian for home run hitters, especially when you're talking about Hall of Fame caliber. Until 1997, he's 26 years old, and he hits 40 bombs for Cleveland. And the following years, here we go, every year after that. 30, 33.
How old is he at these times?
26 starts the
he
sequence.
starts
so
to
40.
emerge, yeah.
I mean, he hits 38 at age 25. So he is relatively consistent in the 30-plus club.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes, so in 1996 when he's 25, 38. Now it's 40, 30, 33, 37, 49, 52, 47, 42. He gets hurt in 2005. He only plays 59 games. He hits 7 home runs. Comes back in 06 for the White Sox. 42. And that year, he's 35 years old when he comes back from injury. It's 42 home runs. And 35, 34, and the career dwindles down where he's about 20 to 25 home runs a season.
So did I hear that right? Was there one season of 50?
Just one season,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, so
that was his age 31 season.
Okay.
Final
All right,
year
still,
in Cleveland.
Still kind of in a prime and in a good hitting environment there and surrounded by a lot of talent there. He's going to get pitches to hit. Anyhow, the point would be
he's sustainably over 25 home runs for a long, long time.
Well, we used to talk about him because the numbers when we got to career totals raised an eyebrow. You'd always think to yourself, man, Jim Thome is a really good player, and he's been a solid player for as long as I can remember, but I just didn't realize he had amassed so many home runs. I remember I went to a game at Target Field not long after they opened it and saw him hit a home run, actually. But he's a guy that I think muddies the water a little bit, right? He's a guy who I believe gets screwed by those using steroids around him because if he didn't use,
well, if he wore
he gets grouped in with that.
If he wore a more form-fitting uniform, I think people would speculate more about him. That dude was jacked out of his mind, but he always wore the baggy uniform like Hal Sutton, coming up the back nine of the Players' Championship.
But
Except
did you think
he didn't look like Hal Sutton? He looked like a Greek god.
Well, he's a big man.
Yeah,
but
he's jacked. But listen, the fun part about his career, honestly, to me, is the first few years. This is where I get geeky, because he plays 98 games. Like I said, he hits 20 bombs. So it's his first real exposure to Major League pitching where they can get a book on him. So the next year, he plays 137 games in 1995 for Cleveland. He hits 25 bombs. Still a really good year, but clearly, if you're looking at the per game ratio, it's a bit of a down season. Then he figures it out the next year in 38. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
Clearly, the book on him, he was so good that when they got a book on him, he still hit 25 bombs.
Well, you congratulate those guys. It always invariably leads to the discussion of who's not getting in and why not and what's fair and what's not. I bring up the Jeff Kent situation because there are some players that are in, and I say that's ridiculous. I mean, Jeff Kent ought to be in if Biggio's in, and you look at a guy like Omar Vizquel and you say, okay, so who would you take first, Kent or Vizquel? And I know Vizquel is incredible on defense and consistent and all those things, but you're building a team. I'm just asking about building a team. You're looking at the infield. Are you taking Jeff Kent over him? Yes. Are you taking him over Biggio? Yes. I mean, and we do this. Mussina's going to get in, right?
Yeah.
And Kurt Schilling's better than Mussina.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
one footnote on Thome, a couple of stats that are just eye-popping to me. His ops for his career, and if you ops 1,000 in any year, you're having an MVP type season.
Yes, you are.
His career ops is 956, which is just incredible. And so you think, it might have to do with the slugging percentage being crazy. He's just hitting a bunch of home runs, so the slugging is great. But his career on base is 402. I mean, this sucker got on base a bunch. He was a hitter also, career 276 average as a power hitter. So across the board, his numbers are just kind of amazing. But he lived in an era where there was always someone more famous.
Freakish stuff,
yes.
like the guys using steroids. I do think the trend in terms of what the voters are doing, when you look at the percentage of votes that Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds are getting, that number has been on the up each of the last 4 years. So it started as a message being sent, no way, no how, no time soon. And now we're at a place where it pretty much looks like to me that they will at some point towards the end of their run of being eligible to be voted on, get in.
I think so. I mean, if you're just to ask the question point blank, has somebody gotten in already that's used?
Oh, the answer is yes.
Yeah. So what are we doing now?
Well, once that happened, and we'll have a better discussion about this later in the show, but I'll tell you now, once that happened, once guys like Jeff Bagwell got in, or
incredible,
or your famous catcher, I thought, okay.
No, steroids only help defense, and he was an awful defensive catcher, so I'm A-okay.
Once Piazza got in and Bagwell got in, I guess we're just deciding that screw it. Oh, I do want to say something before we move on from baseball. I don't know why this still happens, and I do think he's going to get in, and I would maintain that Barry Bonds would have made the Hall of Fame easily, if he never touched a drug, because of the numbers that he had already put up long before we know he started using steroids. That's the key part of the phrasing here that I'm addressing. Before we knew he started using steroids. We do know that he used steroids. This is not in question. I don't know why our friends on the network like Stu Gatz and others love to say allegedly. There is no allegedly.
We don't know if he uses what he has said repeatedly.
That's not true. We absolutely know 100% that he used. He said so. He said so. Now, I don't care that it was leaked. It was grand jury testimony. He admitted under oath to using steroids. It should not have been leaked. It's a bastardization of the legal process, and he got screwed by it. Nonetheless, he admitted under oath to using steroids. So the deal is this. Don't throw out we don't know. Yes, we do. He absolutely used steroids, admitted to it himself. Don't do that. I hate when people do that because they tend to do it based on which side of the argument they're going to fall on, right? We know.
Yeah, and the other
it's
thing.
A fact.
So this morning on Go Look and Wiggle, he appears Thursdays at 8 o'clock. This is where they do their little cross-promotion action. He repeatedly said that, and Trey never really corrected him, but then he brought up about how David Ortiz is known to have failed a drug test. And I was like, all right, well.
The Mitchell report thing?
I guess. But, I mean, even that, you're not supposed to know that because that's anonymous too.
Right. And he never failed a drug test in an official capacity. He was never caught cheating.
Right. So, yeah, you want to get technical on one but not the other? You got to be consistent all the way around here.
But anyhow, the point is this, though. I mean, if you want to make the case for Bonds, you're going to make the case that he was an MVP player long before he ever took a steroid and would have easily made the Hall of Fame. The more interesting debate to have is if we're going to do this thing where we let people in who clearly use steroids, either admitted to it, got caught doing it, whatever it might be, then let's look at the guys who would not have made the Hall, and if not for the use of steroids, and debate that one. Debate the guys that are borderline who clearly would have never made it had they not taken steroids. That's why the debate about Roger Clemens is more intriguing to me than the debate about Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds got fed up of watching people cheat all around him and said, you know what, I'm better than these guys could ever dream of being. Watch what happens when I take steroids.
Okay, real quick. Sosa hit how many? 600 plus, I think?
He would have never made the Hall of Fame.
Canseco would say yes. The answer to this question is yes. But can steroids really take you from a nothing player to a 600 home run hitting player?
It could take you from a guy that would have hit 350 home runs to something like that, I think. Yeah. I mean, think how
so
quickly.
So he was good enough. So Sosa was good enough to hit somewhere in the neighborhood of 300, 400 home runs, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was not a Hall of Fame player.
Sometimes the argument sounds an awful lot like, well, he could have never made it in the bigs without.
Oh, no. He was already in the bigs before he started using steroids. But he,
once you know what I mean, made it and been a player.
Right.
You know?
No, he was not. Go back to his time in Texas. And that dude, come on now. No, he would not have been a Hall of Fame player. He might have been an occasional all-star here and there. What he did was vault himself into a special place. Now, obviously, he had to be a good hitter. Look, Barry Bonds, who was going to, as I said, going to be a Hall of Famer regardless, and had some pretty special numbers for the era and the time when he was in Pittsburgh before going over to San Francisco that suggest as much, started putting up cartoonish, freakish numbers right around 2001, 2002 after he got pissed off watching others use steroids and get the credit like Sosa and McGuire, who he knows aren't a third of his talent, and decides, well, screw it. If that's what we're going to do, if that's kind of fun and games we're having around here, everybody's just going to use steroids and nobody's going to get in trouble for it. What do you see what I do? That's in essence what he did. And then we saw 73 home So to me, you saw an all-world player use, and what you get is numbers that are obscene. The more interesting gray area debate are these guys where I don't know, when did he use? Did he use?
Right.
That guy,
Timelines are very important.
Yeah, very, very important.
It's not cut and dry like, say, Fernando Tatis's career, where you kind of know the timeline.
Yeah, but I do think there are some timelines for
14,
guys.
17, 12,
50.
19, 50.
Well, yeah, that's like Brady Anderson.
Yeah.
Brady Anderson, you're like,
or Brett Boone.
oh, well, buddy, go on. There's plenty.
Yeah.
The funny thing about the steroid era is that the numbers hold a mirror up to the exact moment and season that they decided to use for a lot of guys. Not all, but for a lot of guys, you're like, marginal player, starter in the league, relatively decent. You'll trot him out there every day, but he's not a huge plus player. Oh, you're going to hit 52 home runs, are you, when your career high is 17 in a season?
The one thing I'd like to know from somebody who's been around for a long time when it comes to body chemistry and
all that
pharmaceuticals
stuff, right.
and all that kind of stuff is, the D. Gordon example scares me. Just
right,
who is or who
you
isn't.
Can't see what
you
he was.
can't see
yeah.
that. I mean, that's
not
crazy.
D. Gordon. He's a $105.
I get it that track stars use it too, but I mean, baseball is different. You are required to do a lot of things.
Funny thing about the track stars, especially the sprinters that use, they look like football players.
They do. That is true. But what I would say is, okay, so can we go back to the 90s and say maybe some of the string beans we're using, but you would never know it from their physique?
Maybe.
Or is that something that's, more
listen, we
21st century?
We found out certainly the pitchers were using, and this is the part of the debate that allows for nuance, right? Well, listen, maybe Sosa does deserve to get in because he was going against a league where 80% of the pitchers were also on it.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're all on it together. I mean, that's one argument. Chef Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my poor truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
An ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the Corner Pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. He's gone! Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Enjoy Bud Light with your friends in the Pit of Misery. Enter to win 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game for you and your friends. Enjoy complimentary Bud Lights and cheer on the Seminoles from the Pit of Misery. Visit Facebook.com/Tri-Eagle Sales to enter to win. The winner will receive 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game, complimentary Bud Lights, and a Dilly Dilly prize pack. 3 winners will be chosen. Who would you take to the Pit of Misery? Dilly Dilly! Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly.
Let me tell you a story. It's a love story between a restaurant and its city, and the people of its city. At the corner of Adams and Jefferson, in the heart of downtown Tallahassee, Andrews has been serving up great food, great fun, and great memories for over 45 years. A lot has changed over the years, and Andrews has once again been reinvented to bring the best of the best to its people. There's Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch buffet, fresh, scratch-made recipes. Dining under the new outdoor pergola, a boutique meeting space for up to 120 people downstairs, and a half-price happy hour, 4 to 8 on weekdays and all day Saturday and Sunday for fun times with family and friends. Today, Andrews is better than ever in the capital city. The story continues. Come make memories with us, downtown at Andrews. Better than ever.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
You're up before dark 30. You don't ask for medals or even a pat on the back. But if all your hard work is indeed its own reward, then consider the new Ram Limited Tungsten Edition as a bonus. Natura Plus leather seating, premium projector headlamps, suede headliner, packaged in the highly capable, hard-working truck you'd expect from Ram. Keep doing what you do, but who says you can't do it in a nicer truck? The new Ram Limited Tungsten, the most luxurious Ram truck ever. Ram is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
This is The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
WWE founder and chairman and all-around ass Vince McMahon announced today that he is giving a professional football league another go. That league will be called the same as it was before when he tried to give it a go, the XFL. There it is. Going to happen. 8 teams to start, 40-man rosters, 10-game season beginning in January, 2-hour game time goal. Any player with a criminal record precluded from playing. Okay. Players won't receive a forum to take personal stance on social issues. So he's catering to the right, I guess. That's what he's doing. He's cashing in.
And an endorsement from the right coming in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. So anyhow,
he's got a couple of years to capitalize on that, though.
He's got to try to make a run at it, right? Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you lift the restriction? I think it's just an NFL restriction, isn't it? That kids coming out of high school cannot play at the NFL level until they're 3 years removed from graduation.
Kids out there, man, right?
Why not? Wouldn't you do that?
I guess. I mean, football is the one sport where I have for years thought maybe it's probably a good idea. We have age restrictions.
I understand that, but
yeah,
I mean, if you can get elite talent at that age and offer somebody a paycheck instead of going to college, now you've put the NCAA in a really difficult position.
Which is what you're rooting for. Yes,
perhaps I am.
Yeah, I know. Well, I think a lot of people would be.
Mark Emmert, you're fired.
Yeah. I don't need to hear all of that. I hope he's not blessing the mic. He will be. It's an opportunity to do so.
Well, he said the first to go around that he wasn't going to do that, right? I mean, that's part of that documentary. You saw the XFL, and He said he wasn't going to get that involved, and then he was on the first broadcast front and center. So
I wanted to do this since the day we stopped the other one, said McMahon. A chance to do it with no partner, strictly funded by me, which would allow me to look in the mirror and say, you were the one who screwed this up, or you made this thing a success. That I admire. That part of it I get. I think everybody wants to do things their way, and if it succeeds, great. If not, then you have nobody to blame but yourself. Do you think it works?
Depends on when the season is. Are they still going to run it, like in the summer-ish time of the year?
Well, let's see.
You can't go head-to-head against the NFL.
No, ever. No.
And you can't go head-to-head against college football. So Saturdays and Sundays in the fall are out. Those two sports are way too big. So you got to find an off time to do it. And you got to tell me where you're going to get these guys from.
It's a 10-game season beginning in January.
Oh, winter football. Okay.
8 teams, so I imagine,
well,
they have one right down the road in Orlando. Let's see.
If you're smart, January, it would start this week, in this sense. It would start the week of the Pro Bowl. So you give somebody real football the first time they're missing out on professional football.
Because Lord knows the Pro Bowl is unwatchable.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I already feel like we're oversaturated with football, and I love football. So just personally speaking, I have no interest. But, I mean, I love my college football, and I watch my fair share of NFL football, certainly not only for the show, but also because I enjoy it still to some degree. I like college a lot more. And obviously I'm invested in the Buccaneers, but I don't think, I have to tell you, and maybe it's just because I've lived long enough now just to be really beholden to the seasons. I have my seasons. My seasons are my seasons. I have my mind shifts. It's already beginning. Right now, I have shifted over to March Madness in my head. I'm really excited about the pending March Madness and the tail end of college basketball season. There's a very small window where that takes place for me. I used to love college basketball from game one to the final game. It's not true anymore. I'm invested in the Knowles, and I'm invested in the back half nationally of the college basketball season. The NBA, I don't really start paying attention to until we get to the final, I'd say the final 30 games of the season on into the playoffs. But my college football and my NFL, I'm in. But baseball, you know me, I shift to baseball sooner and sooner, and that has started to happen in earnest.
For me, the funny thing is, I think a lot of people will believe that it can succeed because they're going to place their own changes that they would make. And project that on Vince, but I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, if it's the same field, the same dimensions, and same rules.
It's football.
No, but I'm talking about, what I've wanted to change. So if you get to an NFL speed, you widen the hash marks, you widen the field, you allow for spread concepts to exist post-college. Now you're talking, because now you have offenses that you see on Saturdays exist more on Sundays instead of the cookie-cutter pro style. That's a good place to start. So I just don't know what the rules are going to look like. I don't know how much money they're going to offer players. You know what I mean? So if it's a league of cast-offs and it's almost like a glorified beer league where you're paying them, 10, 20 grand a game, something like that, well, the quarterback play is going to stink, and it's still going to be a pro-style offense that flourishes, and that's not fun because that means the quarterback play is not going to be any good.
You're just seeing a watered-down, very watered-down version of the league that just concluded, is what you're telling me.
Which isn't that great anyway.
Which is
on a
right now, week-to-week basis is not great right now either. Yeah. Got to do something about officiating. I tell you what I would do if I were Vince. I would tell the officials to let almost everything go. I'm not stopping the game every 5 seconds.
That's what I'm saying. So if you list
it's got to be egregious, guys.
You can list out the 4 or 5 things that you want to see changed fundamentally from the NFL product you see on a week-to-week basis.
Replay system, the fewer flags, more time watching actual football as opposed to waiting around, yes.
Sure, and if you do all those things in your own mind, you're like, well, that might be a good product, but I don't know what his priorities are. Apparently it's criminal records. Okay. Like, how about the rules, man? Why don't you say we want the spread offense to exist in professional football? We want it to be exciting and up-tempo, just like it is on Saturdays, because we see the increasing numbers of college football. Now people start listening.
Before the hour ends, I should note that former FSU offensive lineman Brock Rubel is on his way to Toledo. He's transferring. You want to play the Jimbo clip? I mean, we have opportunity upon us here. It's not often. This will probably be the last time we could ever bring it up unless we're describing somebody who maybe didn't live up to the billing.
Is this a proper send-off?
I'm not being mean. This is what the man said.
What does Rubel bring to the offensive line?
Another body.
We wish you well, Brock. Dominate at Toledo, good sir. Hour number 2, forthcoming.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my poor truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Or delivery, and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that Kraft Nissan has been designated by Thanks a Bunch, a nonprofit 501c3 military charity, as Tallahassee's exclusive Hero Appreciation Dealer. Kraft Nissan will be honoring all of our friends and neighbors who are active and retired military, as well as all area first responders, including police, firefighters, and paramedics, now through Wednesday, January 31st, by giving away free $50 gift cards to these American heroes. These gift cards are good at over 25,000 restaurants nationwide and over 40,000 online choices. So please come to Kraft Nissan now through the end of the month for our first ever Hero Appreciation Week. And because this is a very heartfelt week for us, Kraft Nissan will offer the best deals on all of our new and used cars and trucks to all of our customers during this event. But just for joining us, Kraft Nissan will give a free $50 gift card to a local military or first responder with no purchase necessary. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. See dealer for details. Some conditions apply.
Ooh, this burrito is delicious. Help me with my blindfold, friend. Where are we?
We're at Bandito's Burritos.
As utility customers continue to use more energy to offset the recent cold weather, the City of Tallahassee offers you a few tips to help you save energy, water, and money. Sign up today for a free energy audit. After the audit, they'll provide recommendations for energy and water-saving improvements, and it's all free. Take advantage of the Winter Relief Assistance Program, or WRAP. This alternative payment program allows all residential and non-demand small business utility customers to carry over up to 25% of their utility bill in January and February to the following month's bill. To request this option, customers should call 891-4968 after they receive their bill. Try switching to natural gas. The City of Tallahassee offers rebates on natural gas appliances. To find out if natural gas is available in your area, visit talgov.com/YOU. Check out the City of Tallahassee's Ceiling Insulation Grant Program. The city may pay up to 80% of the installation's cost, up to $400. Having an energy-saving winter is easy with all of these great products and services. Call 891-4U. That's 891-4968 to learn more and be winter ready.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Steelers and running back Le'Veon Bell are making significant progress toward a contract extension. Bell tells ESPN The two sides are hoping to beat a February 20th deadline to get a deal done. February 20th is the first day teams can use the franchise tag, and Bell has said that he would consider sitting out next season rather than play another year tag. Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey is charged with robbery after an arrest this morning in Alabama. He's accused of stealing a $15 phone charger from an Uber driver. Tiger Woods is underway in the first round of the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines in San Diego. Warren Miller, who produced more than 500 films, many of them about skiing, has died. Miller died last night at his home. He was 93. College basketball on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Michigan plays at third-ranked Purdue.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello. I wish we had Redemption Thursday wagers to get to. I miss them, Tom. I miss them terribly.
You got the AFC or the NFC?
Boo. I can't believe they still play that thing. I really can't. It's ridiculous. If I were an agent, I would not allow my player to go play in that thing.
Do you have any interest in the thing tonight where they have the skills? They show the guys doing the skill stuff. It's not till 9.
I didn't know it was on. Yeah, I guess. What are they doing? Throwing a football, catching a football, running, jumping?
It could be just, display of how athletic they are. That'd be my guess.
I've got a pretty good feeling that they're all really athletic.
I mean, so you'll pass. Yeah, that's fine.
I like the NHL. Speaking of all-star games and all that good stuff, the NHL skills contest is a lot of fun. That's remarkable.
It is. I'll be down in Tampa on Saturday night. I won't be going to the skills competition as I'll be at Gasparilla all day. So
good times.
Probably not a wise investment to go get the tickets for that night.
Yeah.
You know they're projecting 500,000 people are going to be in Tampa this weekend because of the 2 events.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Picked an interesting time to go to Tampa, Tom.
Well,
you and the rest of the free world apparently.
Apparently
heading
so.
to Tampa. Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's have fun with that.
But the skills competition's cool.
It is very cool. I'm like, I don't know that this feels like a non sequitur, but all right, we'll go with this. Yeah, I agree. The skills contest is fun, and I enjoy it. By the way, Tiger Woods is in the midst of playing golf, everybody. And even for people who don't care about golf, that's fun. And on the 9th hole, he hit, Tom, a drive that was the second longest of the field today. And 118-mile-per-hour swing speed with 1,900 on the spin. They care about these things. It carried 318 yards.
Yeah, that all that means is that he can still swing with the big boys if his body doesn't give out after what he's asking the club to do.
Yeah, and it should be noted that, I know he ended up yanking a 3-wood into the bunker, but he's on the right side of the hole that you need to be on in 2 and is all right.
Yeah, this is one of those days where I wish, right above me there'd be a nice little television there because I'd check in on his every shot. I know he's not going to win the tournament, but this is interesting stuff, and that swing looks effortless and painless. That's important. Pain-free swinging.
I have a lot of fun with my buddy and Florida State University golf coach Trey Jones about this subject because people in golf, and I'll get to Florida State's big win last night in a moment, but people in golf who work in golf, coach, teach, play, they suffer from Tiger fatigue from all of those years of being beaten over the head with Tiger Woods. Now, they all readily admit that he's one of the 2 best players to ever play the game and that he made a lot of people a lot of money and that at his best it was something to behold. They'll all readily admit that too. But because they love the sport much more than Tiger, and they have a love for a lot of different players and know those players' stories, they get Tiger fatigue in terms of the coverage. And so I play the role of just, golf fan guy who weekend hacks and watches golf and loves when Tiger is in the mix because it improves the viewing experience. I gravitate towards it. I do. I'm like everybody else whom is part of the needle moving because Tiger's playing, right? And so on the PGA Tour Network SiriusXM thing that we do, I love to bother Trey. This week, more than any other, I made sure in the opening segment last night of Beyond the Tips that we had at least 4 audio clips from Tiger Woods talking about his upcoming round, much to his chagrin.
How long is that opening segment?
It's like 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
That's a lot of clips for 15 minutes.
We had Braden Thornberry on, who won the NCAAs.
Of course his name is Braden Thornberry.
And he won the NCAAs a year ago. You saw him. Remember that? You
of
watched
course
that?
he won it, yeah.
Well, he's won 9 times in college, and that's not normal. Like, people don't do that.
Thornberry.
But I'm going to tell you something right now, that while the name is befitting that of a country club white kid who plays golf, as you are noting.
Yes. He'll be a judge someday.
He also is really cool, and it's the second time we've had him on, and he is really likable, down-to-earth, fun, polished, and is going to be a star. Just remember the name. If that's your thing, you like golf, and you want to pay attention to young, rising stars, he's going to be, but he's still in college. He's at Ole Miss.
Is he the third in his line, the fourth? No?
You would think, right?
Yeah.
That's almost a character's name in a show about uppity rich people.
Braden Thornberry?
Right.
The third?
The third. Wouldn't it be? Yeah, you would think so. Florida State won last night. That's a good thing. We thought they would. They needed to. That's what good teams do. They win at home against teams that aren't as good as them, especially if they have eyes on making the NCAA tournament. This team does, and this team won last night and really did so relatively easily. And it was all sparked by the end of the half run at the end of the first half, which featured Terrence Mann going nuts and being aided by his friends in that first half, Angola and Kofor. But Florida State really shot it extremely well again, and they only had to make 5 threes in this game and still win 88-77. They didn't have to make. That's all they made. And take a ton and still shot a really good percentage from the field and continue to look like a team that is rested and confident as they stop to take the shot.
Yeah, there are times, and basketball's weird, man. I mean, again, you look at what Georgia Tech did playing Miami earlier in the season, and you look at NC State beating Duke at home. I mean, it's going to yield some really weird results. But there are times when Florida State plays teams of this caliber in the ACC, and you say, oh, they're just better. And that's good, because for a stretch there, we're wondering, after we start with Duke, North Carolina, and then we go through a bit of a slump for the next 3-4 games, you say to yourself, well, how good are they? Was it just they're beating up on a bunch of non-conference teams that they're way better than? You play well on a night and you catch Florida napping because they weren't ready for you. Oklahoma State takes you down the wire. I mean, you start to build evidence to the contrary of what you've watched for 20 games. And now you're back to saying, okay, so when they're rolling offensively, they're a lot to handle for everyone. Not just, middling teams or bad teams, but pretty good teams too.
It all boils down to me of having so many options of guys that can get hot and kind of carry you for stretches and not a singular guy that has to, right? That's a big deal, and I continue to be impressed by that. The night for Terrence Mann last night should be duly noted and specifically noted. He goes 10 of 13 from the field and, ended up being a sensational player with 30 points. And this is a guy that was a career high. He did so on 13 shots. It's fun to watch that guy. 10 of 12 from the free throw line. The free throw shooting is something that's great to pay attention to here because we worried about it early in the season. But specifically to Terrence Mann, he's made 22 of his last 24 free throws. And the team as a whole is shooting free throws at a pretty good percentage now and has done so in pressure-packed situations when they needed to make free throws. So that's good.
Yeah, the thing I like about this game, and it reminds me of the second half against North Carolina, because remember the home game against North Carolina, the first half is all about the 3-ball. And then the second half, we start to attack the basket a little bit more and score consistently around the basket. I love that element of offense in basketball because it reminds me of a running game in football. There's nothing more demoralizing. Like when Terrence Mann, it goes perfect in a half, and everything's kind of around the basket, near the basket, and it's about toughness and spacing and finding a little bit of an alley for yourself, creating space and getting to the rim, and then succeeding consistently. that's just demoralizing for a team. I mean, one of the remarks that Georgia Tech's coach had last night in his post-game press conference was he kicked our butt, like he did. I mean, there's just something extra about that, and you feel so much more empowered. And in the instance of last night, you didn't feel in danger because of the run Terrence goes on, plus the 4-point play for Angola in the first half. I get it that we didn't start well in the second half, and we had to make a quick adjustment out of a timeout, and we did so. You felt like you were carrying the pace of the game. It didn't feel the same in the building as it did for Louisville.
No.
We're ahead by 3 or 4 points against Louisville, and you feel like you're already losing the football, the basketball game.
I had begun to chalk up a loss once the run kind of got halfway through the process. You began to say, well, good Lord. That's
it's a fait accompli.
Yeah, it felt that way with the Louisville game. This game never felt like one you could lose. Even when it gets cut to 8 late in the second half, it never felt like you could lose the game, and thus they don't. A couple of things here to point out. Again, we're not a great defensive team. Ordinarily, we're great on the offensive glass. It has certainly been a strength for us. It was not last night. And yet, there they are winning comfortably because they score the basketball. This is a team.
A lot of made shots, yeah.
That helps, yes. Look at them in terms of the advanced numbers in the ACC. Offensively, they're one of the best offenses in the league, one of the top 3 offenses in the league. Just remind yourself of where we were at one point. Remind yourself again and again and again of what this team was and what our identity was and what it meant to watch us play basketball. You had to almost like pick yourself up by the bootstraps and remind yourself that it wasn't going to be pretty, that it was going to feel like work, and that, hey, that's what we had to do to win games. And you know what? I like winning more than losing, so I'll go watch 51-48 and hope like hell that our style of play wins out. But I never liked it. I just liked not losing. This is not that. This is fun. I'd like to play better defense, but in terms of trade-offs, give me a highly efficient offensive club that can withstand losing 3 NBA players and still be on the cusp of certainly making an NCAA tournament and playing big-time basketball with the likes of North Carolina and Duke and Louisville and teams like that pretty consistently and being able to score. It's fun.
Yeah, you go get a win this weekend, and if you can take that parlayed into finishing over 500 in the conference and making the NCAA tournament, it's a rousing success in a year that you thought you needed to reload a little bit. But you're relying on the offense to be the thing that carries you here. We knew a couple of things about this team coming into the season. One was tempo was still going to be there. No doubt. We've changed philosophically. Tempo was going to be there. Number 2 was rebounding was going to be a bit of an issue for this team. And that was even before Kumaje got hurt. We thought, man, I don't know where all of our rebounds are going to come from. But we're real good offensively
rebounding. Not last night, but we are.
Correct. Offensively, yes. But in general, you can tell for stretches that, you know, we play with the big boys in the conference by and large. We have something that we're still lacking. I think Fiondu is going to be a big part of that in his career, but he's not ready just yet, or at least they're not willing to give him the minutes to be ready just yet. But that we need to rely on the offense is a little bit surprising in this sense to me. I knew we would be good in tempo. I didn't know we would be good in efficiency and output, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Given with what we lost last year, that's great that we're going to be fast, but are we going to be fast and come up empty-handed, a lot of empty possessions? And that just hasn't been the case this year.
Well, we don't turn it over at an alarming rate at all, and we do, when we're not exhausted, we do find ways to finish around the rim in dramatic fashion. We're awfully fun to watch. And now you got a big-time game that this place should be packed out for on Saturday, 4 o'clock. Miami comes in. They're fresh off a win against Louisville. They're very, very good. They already have a win over you. If you can defend the home court, avenge that loss, you get to 16-5. You'd be 5-4 in the ACC with a game on Wednesday at 8 o'clock against Wake Forest, who's really reeling right now and who, frankly, you're just better than. You got a chance to up the ante here and get this thing to 2 games above 500 in conference, get up to 17 wins, and you are knocking on the door of cementing your place in the NCAA tournament, which, again, before the season began, was the overriding question. Are they good enough to withstand the kind of loss in production that they had to the NBA? Typically speaking, a program like this cannot overcome the loss of that kind of production, and yet here they sit. That is an indicator of very good player evaluation, very good chemistry, very good long-term effectiveness in terms of the roster you're putting together to find consistency and being an NCAA program, NCAA tournament team annually, and that's all you're looking for here.
Said it last night. I'll be a broken record about it today. But what MJ Walker did in the second half for a spurt is really important, and it gets lost in the box score. But if you watch the game and in the stretch where Georgia Tech is making it just a little bit interesting and Florida State starts to pull it away, of course, Terrence Mann is there, and he's important, and he factors in. He did all night long. That's what happens when you score 30 points in a college basketball game, is you're going to be involved in a lot of things. But of the 9 points he scored, MJ Walker was involved in a lot of the big baskets in this game. He fouls out. It's not the effort that you want necessarily, but of what we did see of MJ Walker last night, there were big baskets, situational baskets. They mattered. And if you combine that with what he did on the road up at Blacksburg, now you're seeing somebody who is comfortable playing in bigger moments of ACC play, maybe not against the Blue Bloods just yet, but comfortable enough night in, night out in the ACC of giving you a big basket or two or a big possession or two. And for me, projecting the last handful of games here, however many we have left, if his confidence is right, you might have another weapon that we didn't figure we had about a week ago this time.
Good times. Good times. Loving it. By the way, tomorrow, Sue Simmerall going to join us on the program to talk up the big game on Sunday against Notre Dame. That's a top 10 matchup, and it's only $1 to get into that game. I know that people are rallying behind Coach Sue and the Lady Seminoles, who take on a very good Notre Dame team. I'm excited to see the game as well. And if we were able to get that win, who knows? Maybe this is that team, right, that makes that run to the Final Four. And certainly they're a program of significance every year as well. And so we'll be happy to have Coach Sue on tomorrow. If you're tuning in, a lot of you guys gripe that I don't talk enough women's basketball for you. I get a lot of letters and emails and the like. I know she does too. So here's your chance. I'm going to talk to her tomorrow. And I don't say that condescendingly at all. I say I love Coach Sue. I have for years, but I know my audience as well, and so it's a balance. But we're going to talk to her tomorrow. They're doing good things. Look forward to it. Tiger Woods back on the golf course. We'll update you as to his round, and also the Hall of Fame votes are in. Congrats to Chipper Jones, Vlad Guerrero, Jim Tomei, Trevor Hoffman joining Jack Morris and Alan Trammell, who of course got in December with the Modern Era Committee votes. And there's some players there kind of outside looking in that we think maybe next up will be in line, and some guys that we think should have already made it as well. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
January 27th, 2018. You can register online, go to Facebook, type in 2018 Trent Trot. Support this race and help a local child leave cancer in the dust.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Start your new year off right with all the DeWalt deals at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. The store that brought you your Build Your Own kit is taking it to the next level. Buy any, and we mean any, DeWalt Bear tool and receive a free, on-the-spot 4-amp-hour lithium battery. No mail-ins, no gimmicks, on the spot. Also, check out DeWalt's Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get a free tool promotion exclusively at Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. 2 locations to choose from, 1110 Stuckey Avenue and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Enjoy Bud Light with your friends in the Pit of Misery. Enter to win 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game for you and your friends. Enjoy complimentary Bud Lights and cheer on the Seminoles from the Pit of Misery. Visit Facebook.com/Tri-Eagle Sales to enter to win. The winner will receive 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game, complimentary Bud Lights, and a Dilly Dilly prize pack. 3 winners will be chosen. Who would you take to the Pit of Misery? Dilly Dilly! Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
What's your favorite? I've never asked you, I don't think. Who's your favorite baseball player of all time?
That's a really tough question. I don't know that I really have a...
You don't have a guy?
A home run answer, if you will, for that.
I do. It's Willie Stargell for me. Not even close, really.
I loved Piazza, but defensively, he was never a complete player.
Yeah.
He was our most clutch bat. I loved Edgardo Alfonso. That might be one of my favorites. Ken Griffey Jr., of course. That's a tough question, so I'll spare people the rest of my thinking.
Yeah, well, I want you to think about it, so get back to me on that one. You know what?
As a kid, my hero was Todd Hundley before Piazza came in and took over the catcher spot for the Mets.
I love Todd Hundley, but I was, as a kid, Willie Stargell, obviously, but after Willie Stargell, it was not a guy on my team, although I did like Jim Bibby, who most people have no idea who he is. But I loved him, but I absolutely always loved George Brett.
You know what's funny is I think it's probably context and time, realizing that he wasn't such a bad guy. If you asked me in 1999, if I liked Pedro Martinez, I would have said, no, I don't really like him all that much.
Love him.
I love Pedro Martinez.
Love him.
By the end of his career, I mean, when he came to New York, you realize how much joy he has in the way he plays the game. He also got to bat for himself, which he had to.
Yeah, got to buck up and be a man.
He had to buck
there.
up and deal with a couple of old scores being settled.
Sure.
But, man, that dude was just so breathtaking as a pitcher. Because I saw him. He still had 95, 96 heat, but not 100 heat, not 99. And he could pitch and pull the string.
Well, he was ridiculous.
Oh,
I mean,
my
he could
God.
largely pitch entire games throwing fastball changeup.
And his career was never the same after he slipped and fell in the clubhouse on a tile floor. It was in Miami. Which hurt his hip.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're used to seeing the ball do cartoonish things coming out of his hand in certain replays where the ball, it's just the classic 12-6 and all that.
Yeah.
But fastball changeup, he would have nights where literally threw 2 pitches, and you just, okay, all right, we got nothing for this here. Guys just staring at 77 down the heart because they were expecting, something else, and they're just, you see that locked up sort of, oh, well, man, I'm domed.
From about 2004 to, I'd say, 2009 or 10, Mets fans really bonded with their ace pitchers because their ace pitchers would have an inordinate amount of their games blown in the 8th or 9th.
And because they were begging for one of them to throw a no-hitter.
Right. Well, that too. And there were a lot of close calls.
Yeah.
But like Pedro and Santana, over the course of that time, had maybe, 30, 40 wins between the two of them, like left on the shelf just because we couldn't close out a ball game and we'd only scored 2 or 3 runs for them. So you have a bond with them because I know what you're going through because I'm just as frustrated as you are.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fan. So I know your level of frustration exactly the same.
I know all the effort you exerted, I exerted.
But Santana was great too. That guy, the penultimate day of the season, came back on short rest in a game you had to have. We ended up not making the playoffs. It was one of the collapse years.
Yeah.
There was a complete game with a torn meniscus. Complete game. It's like 2 hours, 5 minutes. In, out, he strikes out 12, whatever the heck it is.
Needed to tear his meniscus more often.
I guess so.
Hey, so one of the things about baseball on Baseball Hall of Fame Day where we talk a lot about it, I'm reminded of people's careers, whether that be Vlad Guerrero, Chipper Jones, Jim Thome, Trevor Hoffman, Jack Morris, Alan Trammell. In this case, congrats to all those guys. Baseball is also one of the sports, and I've done this today a couple times, probably do it again, that the further removed you are from somebody's career, the better able you are to have an appreciation for a player, even one that you hated when he played, and they fall out of the category. They fall out of the box. All of a sudden, there's somebody you really do kind of appreciate and miss a little bit. For me, I think the biggest turnaround in the way that I view a franchise, a team, its players, the run, any of it is, in any sport, the Atlanta Braves of the 14-year run. Now, I know to some degree they're rivals with you, but remember, they broke my heart. They ripped out the Pirates fans' hearts not once but twice.
Yeah, I know it's a memorable play, but we had 14 years of just,
but they knocked us out in 2 series, buddy, in the postseason.
Yeah, well, they knocked us out of being able to go to the playoffs how many years? Where it's like the Braves are down 3 and they're like, oh, Braves win. It's like, oh, great, they win again. It's America's team.
So
TBS, yay.
I got
Congrats.
it. I don't listen, I'm not telling you I look back on it now and go, God, I wish I were a Braves fan. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the players that made up that run, Chipper Jones being one of them, I do have a much greater fondness for, as well as appreciation, even a fondness. And I'll give you a guy that you agree with me on that. John Smoltz. You like John Smoltz now.
I do.
You probably have a much greater appreciation for what he was as a dominating pitcher in his time in Atlanta than you ever could have when he was doing that against your team in the moment.
Yeah, there were a couple of instances where I had to just give up, and this was during his playing career. He had just made the transition back from closer to starter again. Mm-hmm. I believe this is before, Anyway, a couple of times where the inning would be over, he'd retire the opposing pitcher to be one of our aces,
right?
Like I just talked about. And they would smile and they would say hello, tip the cap, tap the butt, and then run to their dugouts. I was like, oh, well, they like him.
Yeah.
He's
not a bad guy at all.
He's not like Maddox at all. This guy's pretty cool. I ended up in his playing career liking Smoltz more than I liked Glavine, who played for the Mets, or Maddox. I didn't like Tom Glavine.
I got no time for Glavine, still don't.
Yeah.
I like Maddox.
It was like the Nick O'Leary grandfather thing. You're like, did you know he was a hockey goalie? I'm like, enough with the hockey goalie story.
Already. No, I like Maddox. I miss, we don't really have too many pictures of that artistry anymore because it is all built around power arms now. everything is that you can throw 100 or your top end on that fastball is upper 90s. And we don't see a lot of aces out there throwing 90, topping out at, you know what I mean?
The first ever live game I saw in New York was an Al Leiter pitch game against the Cardinals. This is back in '98, something like that. The thing I loved about Al Leiter was he would grunt as he threw the ball.
Oh, yeah, you could hear it through the stadium.
The effort.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be
like soaked in sweat.
Bottom of the second or top of the second
Yeah.
inning, and he's just like he's buzzed on the sideline for
Yeah.
Virginia Tech. You're like, change your uniform, sir.
Sir, my God.
He gave you everything he had, and it
yeah.
would be 6 2/3, and he'd give up 3 runs, and that's technically a
good
quality
outing,
start.
yeah.
But you would feel like it was a heroic performance.
And when he left, he was wiping
Because he was dead.
You're like, thank you, Al.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything, buddy. On a random Tuesday.
You know, and he's just like 93 on the inner half.
You
like,
gave us everything you had,
God,
sir.
man, that guy is trying.
But I love that, man. And it's funny because I was looking at the inductees today with Chipper, and I thought to myself as I looked at his career and I looked at the numbers and I saw all of his career, and then he was a guy I'd made fun of when he got in trouble and everything else with the Hooters girl and everything. But I look at Chipper, I'm kind of like, I don't hate Chipper, and I do miss him as a player. He was a really good player, and I think it's just the fondness of baseball that I have, that if you played a role in that larger picture, you know, and you were a great player, that when you're no longer harming my team and it's many years removed, I can openly say that I miss watching you play a game that I love.
I could never go there with Chipper.
Well,
but
because he owned the Mets. I know that. But I'm saying, I mean, that's specific.
And he's
right?
like, ugh, as a person, too.
Well, I'm not saying I love the guy. I don't know him. But I'm saying I appreciate him as a player. I miss the player, Chipper Jones.
But in terms of the player, something similar, not quite the same, Jeter. I came around on Jeter before his time was up. I could not stand Derek Jeter in the late 90s,
No, here's
early
the
2000s.
problem. Here's the problem with Jeter. It's not Jeter. It's the Jeter fans.
Yeah.
Fans of Jeter will have you believe Jeter's capable of doing things that Jeter never came close to doing.
Michael K., chief amongst them.
Oh, sweet Jesus. They would talk about Jeter like he was freaking Babe Ruth or somebody of, you know, it was unbelievable. I'm like, listen, really good player. Hall of Famer. Gotcha. Stop talking about Derek Jeter like he's Willie Mays.
Closer
He's
to Bernie
not-
Williams
Yeah.
than Babe Ruth.
Yeah, he's not
Okay?
that
Yeah.
guy.
Mhm.
Stop that. And he has limitations, I might add. The entire second half of his career, you know, he's an average defensive shortstop. Oh my
Imagine,
God.
he's got the right center to Citi Field instead of Yankee Stadium. I don't know what his career looks like.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my poor truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
If it's time to top off, flush or refill your cooling system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for Prestone Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant, $12.99 a gallon. Plus, earn double O Rewards points for this purchase of Prestone Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you don't have a big marketing budget, you have to wait until the opportunity is just right. Well, consider this your opportunity alarm going off. Vistaprint semi-annual sale has arrived with up to 50% off site-wide, including custom postcards, signs, invitations, posters, and more. And with tons of business card options like Square Cards, now's the time to get huge savings on them too. Make the most of this opportunity. Go to Vistaprint.com by January 30th and enter the promo code SAVEBIG.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs, with no hidden fees. Free installation on carpet $699 or more means free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Here's a love story between a restaurant and its city, and the people of its city. For 45 years, Andrews has been serving up great food, great fun, and great memories in the heart of Tallahassee. Today, Andrews is better than ever, with an all-new look, Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch, a new outdoor pergola, and an incredible happy hour. All to bring the best of the best to you. Come make memories at Andrews, better than ever.
Attention all business owners now listening. I'm Alan Willis, the General Manager of WTSM 97.9 ESPN Radio. ESPN is the best-known sports brand in the world, and your business in the Tallahassee area can be associated with it, whether it be on nationally produced shows like Golick and Wingo, Dan Le Batard, Stephen A. Smith, or locally produced favorites like The Jeff Cameron Show or Wake Up War Chant. We have it all. Oh, and did I mention that it's all very affordable? We have helped many businesses in all categories solve their marketing problems, and we would love to help your business next. It's easy. Just pick up the phone and call me at 561-8400 during normal business hours, or go to espntallahassee.com anytime and shoot me an email. No matter your advertising budget, we can help you solve your marketing problems and have fun doing it. Let my team of professionals go to bat for your business. Call me today, Alan Willis, at 561-8400, and get your business off the bench and into the game today with WTSM 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a ship? Don't answer. It's the crow's nest. Know why? Complete visibility. I can see what's on the horizon and my crew pulling the ship together on the deck below. That's how I run this ship, and that's why we use Grainger. Grainger helps us keep a clear eye on our inventory, saving us time, saving us money, and helping keep everything ship shape. It's always smooth sailing with Grainger. Call clickgranger.com or stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Goes through, if they are music fans, a series of stretches of Rolling Stones appreciation. Just it happens where something happens, triggers, where you're like, man, I'm not listening to enough Stones. And then you do it, and you immerse yourself, and you go through it, and you are wholly reminded of the greatness, especially of the first half. The Stones.
Yeah.
You're
first quarter now, right?
Well, at this age, yeah. But you get there and you're like, golly, that was something. That is. And then you come out of it and you move on and you're doing whatever you're doing. And maybe at a point, a couple years down the road, you're driving down the road and somebody takes a deep cut, not some surface level huge hit, but a deep cut off a great record. And you listen and you're like, I'm just not listening to it. And then you go back and you do it again, and then it's what happens. On and off again. It's like a long romance with the Stones.
I've gone on a weird journey the last, let's say, 6 to 9 months. Nice. St. Paul the Broken Bones.
Nicely
I went through.
played, sir.
Thank you.
Took me a second.
A band I saw open for them, Israel Nash, which I really liked. The War on Drugs, obviously that album came out, so I've been listening to that nonstop for a long time. But now I'm in a weird place. Zeppelin and The Cure are the two bands I'm listening to right now.
Well, okay. Both for various reasons. Profoundly influential, but obviously Zeppelin more so. But
Of course. I'm not even saying,
No, I got you.
Carefree music, obviously that you go with The Cure for the most part. And then Zeppelin for some deep thinking.
Well, and, here's the thing, as an aside, if you're doing Zeppelin, it's an album thing. And I don't mean like physically buying the record. I mean, it's a start to finish album thing.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is a fun endeavor, once again, because we don't do that now. Everything's compressed and just one-offs and skipped and forwarded and all that because of digital. So if you are investing in the time and doing the whole, start to finish thing with a record or a CD or whatever, even if it's digital, whatever it is, but sitting through albums that were made that way for a reason, that 2 is related to 7, or whatever that might be.
Sure.
That's a fun experience. It's just it's also a way anymore to completely disconnect with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Which is something we are always in need to do.
Yes, right, yeah,
yeah.
You're listening to The Cure, you're connected, you're doing something social, you're having fun. But with Zeppelin, you're kind of staring off into space. And then in between, I listen to my my Pandora Bowie radio station, which is
always good.
I mean, it takes you a lot of good places.
All right, so are you, and we'll address it very briefly, going to be tuning in to the Winter Olympics? Are you pumped up about the Winter Olympics, sir?
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this second-rate hockey tournament. I'll be interested to see what the quality of play looks like. A lot of names I'm sure I'll recognize that are either gone now in the minor leagues or recently retired or whatever it is. And then curling, man, I always like to watch curling. That is a very social sport to watch.
Oddly enough, most people I think share your sentiment. We are all strangely drawn to curling. My wife likes curling.
Well, we can
love
talk,
curling.
have a glass of wine.
Yeah, it's a pace of play game, huh?
Yeah.
That's what it is?
Yeah. It's a talk. It's like moving art. It's just on the screen and we can all talk. And if I miss something, I missed something. It's no big deal.
Well, every time the Olympics comes around, you get this story or a story very similar. And here's a reminder of that. City governments that host the Olympics often face a dilemma after spending hundreds of millions of dollars to build arenas and event spaces. What do you do with them when the games are over? For South Korean officials mulling the future of the Pyeongchang Olympic Stadium, the answer is straightforward. They're going to tear it down. The stadium costs $116 billion. It will be used only 4 times in the course of the games. No, that's won. Sorry, 116 billion won. That's $109 million.
Still.
Yeah, that's for a second. Well, I had to go back and look at that. I thought that cannot be in dollars because there's no stadium that costs $116 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That would be like the whole country.
Right.
Like this stadium is a dome for the country now. I mean, that's nuts.
I mean, I thought Rio was excessive.
This is crazy.
You know,
I'm glad I checked myself and went back to look at that. It's $109 million.
Okay.
But it will only be used 4 times in the course of the games. Twice in February for the opening and closing ceremonies of the Winter Olympics, and then twice in March for the opening and closing ceremonies of the Paralympics. After that, they're going to demolish it, 35,000 seats, one of several new facilities that the government built to accommodate the games. And, there you go. You got speed skating there. You got there's an ice arena there that cost $104 million. There's a few other stadiums like that. You have the Alpine Center and the Olympic Sliding Center. All right.
How much would it have cost to, put up 35,000 worth of bleachers and a couple of VIP areas?
I know.
$109 million, huh?
The Centennial Olympic Stadium, built for the 96 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, as you guys recall, was converted into a home for the Atlanta Braves baseball team where they resided for 20 years. And I always feel like when we read these stories about stadiums being built for just the Olympics that, damn it, man, can't we find somebody that wants to go play there?
Sure.
People would go.
Yeah.
Like, put a sport there after we leave.
Well, I mean, that's what Georgia State did in Atlanta. Turner Field is being used for football now. It got converted to a college football stadium, which is good. I mean, maybe that's a 20-year model for that program, but they got a good place.
The follow-up on the Rio stuff that we talked about, which was so depressing, all those facilities deteriorated to a place where, I mean, you have a worm invasion for one of them, rampant looting in others. In Athens, the sites built for the 2004 games are decaying. Plans to turn the 10,000-unit Olympic Village into a public housing development with schools and hospitals became mired in bureaucracy and didn't happen. So all that best-laid plans didn't happen there. But it is unusual for the main Olympic stadium to be built and then just knocked down and for that to be the plan. As soon as the games are over. Among the list of countries that have hosted the games, France leads the way when it comes to bringing the wrecking ball. The Olympic Stadium for the 68 Winter Games was torn down immediately after competition, and they did it again in '92. They're not playing games.
Given the alternatives and what you're hearing around the world from other events, it sounds like it's the smart play. Instead of just having something there where people can, I don't know, do illicit things.
Well, in an article written by Josh Horowitz, he says exactly that. Given that Pyeongchang's, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I think it's Pyeongchang.
Pyeongchang, yeah. Size of the country, the population, or the county, the population is just 45,000. 10,000 more seats than the Olympic Stadium. That's all that is. So tearing the venue down, I guess they would say, makes more economic sense than paying to keep it up. Still, man.
That's an exit strategy, though. Yeah. Better than the one in Brazil.
I hate to be a worker. Like, look at this beautiful thing. Yeah, look at it while you can.
Yeah.
In about a month and a half, this thing is gone.
More work for me. All right.
Yeah.
I remember this rivet. Let me take it out.
Brutal, man.
Yeah.
It's just, that's why you always say, that's why people anymore say, we don't want the game.
Yeah.
We don't want the games. We don't want it. It's more hassle
unless it's already in a city where you're just going to pay me for improvements to current facilities rather than putting up brand new ones.
I do like, I will say again, I do like the fact that out of those summer games in Atlanta, that at least something was used for a good 20 years. It feels so freaking wasteful.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the Super Bowl theory, right? I want the Super Bowl to be in a place where the weather isn't going to be terrible or it's going to be indoors, and that's where it should be. So we shouldn't go play it in Green Bay,
Proposed AFC, NFC back and forth swap year to year, I heard from James Lofton, former player. He was talking about he thinks that the NFC winner one year hosts whoever that is.
Yeah.
The AFC winner the next year, and then that way, because there's all good stadiums, and that way, I'm like, man, we'd be having the damn Super Bowl in New England every other year.
Right, yeah.
I'm tired of that. And
that place would be a metropolis by the end of the dynasty.
And then in addition to that, if Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers ever go on another great run, who in the world is rolling up to watch a Super Bowl in Green Bay, Wisconsin in February?
In the same way,
Jesus.
You kind of talked about it before, but in the same way, it's kind of like you have to be elitist about these types of events. You got to come to Western nations or developed nations.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't work. Not only is it irresponsible, but it's poor PR for your organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that stuff in Brazil was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
was.
I mean, what's going on with the World Cup?
Well,
Obviously,
again, we that situation is. It's maddening and tragic.
labor.
It's downright tragic.
right,
Yeah.
but it's still going on right
Yeah,
now. It's like
well,
happening as we speak. This whole process.
Sure, it's there's murder and slavery, and people are like, oh, we gotta have the World Cup.
Yeah, but who's actually going to make it to the round of 16? You know.
No, I know. Yeah, no, you can't do AFC, NFC because of the reasons that we just laid out. Nobody's going to the Super Bowl if it's in New England every other year and or Green Bay at some point, or even places like Chicago, which I love. And listen, all these cities to some degree I love. I've been to them, except for Green Bay. I've not been to Green Bay, which I still want to go. And when the Bucks play, I want to play.
I know, we were there this year.
Yeah,
but,
I wanted to go to a cold game in Green Bay. But no, that said, yeah, you can't do that. And I've been to a Super Bowl, and I saw the Bears play against the Colts down in Miami. And it is, as I've said every time this story comes up, a much cooler thing than I thought it would be, given how corporate these championship games are. Typically, that's not a lot of fun. This is fun. The Super Bowl is fun. The days surrounding the Super Bowl are great.
Since we're kind of talking about stadiums and all that kind of stuff, I drove by as I was finally in Miami for the first time.
Oh, I thought you were about to say Hauser just see the new scoreboard.
No. I'm excited to see that.
Tomorrow, baseball practice gets underway, kids.
But just driving by, since I was in Miami for the first time, the old Pro Player, whatever it's called now, Seminole Hard Rock, is that right?
It looks
that thing
so
looks
much better.
it looks weird though. It looks like
but I like it. It looks like an alien spaceship.
But the way it presents on TV,
oh, it's cool.
It's like having a brand new stadium.
Never thought they'd get it right. They've spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in trying to change that stadium around. It never worked, and then now they did it. They got it right. It's a cool place to watch a game.
It has an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Everything looks better.
I don't think I'd like to be there when I went to the Florida State Miami game, one of the many that we came back in and broke their hearts. And sat there amongst the Miami faithful on the 50 and enjoyed their anguish. But I will tell you that it gets hot in there, very hot, because of the way that the stadium, it's very hot.
Traps the heat.
It traps the heat. Yeah, it can be a bit much. But anyhow, it's a cool look.
It is
aesthetic.
Miami, outside of playing indoors, yeah.
Yeah, but the aesthetic of it is really nice.
That should be a model instead of, holding a city hostage to rebuild a new facility. You could do it kind of on the fly.
Well, but they screwed it up like 16 times. I mean, there was a lot of money being spent to screw it up again and again and again.
It only needs to work once.
Yeah, let's get this right early in the process. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with us.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Number CCC 049350.
Enjoy Bud Light with your friends in the Pit of Misery. Enter to win 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game for you and your friends. Enjoy complimentary Bud Lights and cheer on the Seminoles from the Pit of Misery. Visit Facebook.com/Tri-Eagle Sales to enter to win. The winner will receive 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game, complimentary Bud Lights, and a Dilly Dilly prize pack. 3 winners will be chosen. Who would you take to the Pit of Misery? Dilly Dilly! Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly.
Roberts Elementary School is proud to host the 9th annual Trent Trot in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts 4th grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which support local families battling pediatric cancer. This race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 27, 2018. You can register online, go to Facebook, type in 2018 Trent Trot. Support this race and help a local child leave cancer in the dust.
Oh no! My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
When you don't have a big marketing budget, you have to wait until the opportunity is just right. Well, consider this your opportunity alarm going off. Vistaprint semi-annual sale has arrived with up to 50% off site-wide, including custom postcards, signs, invitations, posters, and more. And with tons of business card options like Square Cards, now's the time to get huge savings on them too. Make the most of this opportunity. Go to Vistaprint.com by January 30th and enter the promo code SAVEBIG.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Start your new year off right with all the DeWalt deals at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. The store that brought you your build-your-own kit is taking it to the next level. Buy any, and we mean any, DeWalt Bear tool and receive a free, on-the-spot 4-amp-hour lithium battery. No mail-ins, no gimmicks, on the spot. Also, check out DeWalt's Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get a free tool promotion exclusively at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Cornerstone Tool & Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. 2 locations to choose from: 1110 Stuckey Avenue and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. The Steelers and running back Le'Veon Bell are making significant progress toward a contract extension. Bell tells ESPN the two sides are hoping to beat a February 20th deadline to get a deal done. February 20th is the first day teams can use the franchise tag, and Bell has said that he would consider sitting out next season rather than play another year tag. Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey is charged with robbery after an arrest this morning in Alabama. He's accused of stealing a $15 phone charger from an Uber driver. Tiger Woods is underway in the first round of the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines in San Diego. Warren Miller, who produced more than 500 films, many of them about skiing, has died. Miller died last night at his home. He was 93. College basketball on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Michigan plays at third-ranked Purdue.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Try not to miss things. We all miss things occasionally, and that's because life's busy, and therefore you're excited to know that you can go back and get caught up by finding the archived audio. We'll put it up upon the conclusion of the show, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the show if you want, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at Jay Cameron Show. WTSM app for mobile devices. Also, that's another place you can find the archived audio. We're on YouTube. Thanks for watching on YouTube and on Twitter, the at 979 ESPN Tallahassee Twitter feed.
At 979 ESPN Radio, yes.
Yeah, sure. Same thing. If you just type in that, you'll find it.
You'll find us, yes.
And there you'll see the periscoping. Florida State did as I suspected they would last night. They cruised to victory against Georgia Tech, who Georgia Tech was frustrating. I watched that first half with a little trepidation. The first 10 minutes, I thought, no, damn it, you've kind of uglified the game.
Yeah, we get out to a big lead right off the bat, and then, now it gets really ugly. A lot of second chance points.
Very annoying. I was frustrated, and, at that point, it's a 28-27 game with 5:40 left in the half, and then we go berserk. We go on a 22-9 run, and there's some get you some. It's the Angola 4-point play. It's the dunk from man. It's the suck it moment of the game is right there. Georgia Tech was not going to win this basketball game after that run where Terrence Mann goes crazy with 21 points, 7 for 7 field goals, 7 of 8 free throws. Kofor had 12 points, Angola 9 points. 42 of the 50 first-half points are accounted for by those three starters who all go nuts during this run. And that's it. Good night. Good night. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, the way Mann played before and after the Angola 4-point play it just set the tone. And that was great, too, because obviously if you look at what Georgia Tech has been able to do against some pretty potent offensive attacks.
Yeah.
They're not scoring at the level that we're scoring. I mean, the Miami game, it's the one that stands out in their schedule, but they're capable of holding a team like Miami into the 50s for the game. And there we are flirting with big numbers already at halftime. Terrence Mann was just... Sometimes you need your best player to be your best player and take over a game, and he absolutely took over the game in the paint.
Let me tell you my favorite moment of the game. It happens at the 17:42 mark, and I was proud of Coach Hamilton and that staff for doing the right thing here. You build the big lead at halftime, obviously. You feel very good about how that half ends, and you're hot from the field. You're scoring at will. And then you come out, and Georgia Tech is not going to pack it in. They're going to play a little ball here to start the second half and get a feel for whether or not they can make a run. And they come out and cut it to 50-41, make a couple baskets right off the bat. And Ham says, no, I've seen enough, damn it. Calls a timeout because obviously he's thinking back to Duke and Louisville and Syracuse and those moments where that's the way the half started and it got away from us, or it was almost got away from us in the case of the Syracuse game. We ended up winning in double overtime. But the point is, he wasn't going to allow for that. He quickly called the timeout, and then you trade a bunch of points. And then with, 66-51 with 10 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Florida State goes on that nice run with MJ Walker hitting the three there to cap it off. And so, anyhow, it gets weird. It gets close again at the 8-minute mark, but I still never really felt like Georgia Tech could win that game.
That's the way it felt, the whole night. That's the way that the Tucker Center felt. MJ Walker did come up big in the middle portion of the second half to kind of, you needed a respite from all that Terrence was doing. And, he's going to come back to earth a little bit. And obviously he fouls out and he doesn't, he's not able to back up the performance like he did up in Blacksburg with another big 20-point night or 15-point night. But important baskets when you need them. And when you're just looking at a freshman, just for a second, we're talking about the free throws he hit, the situations he played in when we were up on the road this past weekend, and he looked the part. He was up to the task in the moment. Well, okay, these are just 9 points last night, but they're all important.
They're all big moments.
He makes a couple of big passes, too, in that sequence.
No, he's a good player. I think he's playing with confidence again.
That's the situations that he's showing up in are huge, and that's going to pay dividends for us down the stretch of the season, I would think.
Something to note here, too, that is exciting. Another incredible night of shooting. And we had wondered, the shooting went south and the numbers were horrific. There was a stretch there where I think we were 10 of our last 50 from three. And I prattled on about some statistics that were ugly during our losing streak. And we asked the question after they got the rest, are you going to prove to us that you're the former or the latter? And the former was that first part of the season where we thought, man, we can really shoot the basketball. And then the latter was a stretch where we really couldn't shoot the basketball. And we needed to know during this run, were you going to return to some semblance of normalcy? Were you going to show us that it wasn't a fluke, that you can actually make shots, that you'll knock down open looks? Florida State won this game, and they shot nearly 60%. In the first half, they shot 62%. This is really rather remarkable when you look at the points in the paint and everything else, 44-28 in that margin. They made a ton of shots, and they also forced Georgia Tech to turn it over 16 times.
To look at it from a different perspective but arrive at the same overriding point, you just hit 5 3-pointers last night. That's it.
No, 5 of 13, I think it was.
And a couple of them in the second half, when this game is kind of decided, or at least you put one away. Angola hits one that really ends the game, puts it up, I forget where we were, 11, 12 points at that point. But yes, the ability to score in this manner is more sustainable than living and dying on the three ball. It's going to come and go for us, and there will be nights where it carries us to victory. But I love what I see last night at a Kofor inside the arc,
especially the first half.
At a man, and then Angola has proven to be a bit more of a consistent scoring threat for you too.
One downer is that it was another disappearance from C.J. Walker.
Yeah.
Listen, I get that that's who he is, very streaky. He can really carry you for a stretch, but, man, when he goes missing, he goes missing. Was not a good night for Kamaji either. Did have the 4 rebounds and 1 block, but
that last foul
out.
is such a joke. I don't care that he's in the restricted area. You're allowed to stand somewhere.
That's true.
He's not trying to draw a charge. He was standing there the entirety of the time the kid's bringing it up the court. And then he just puts his hands up, and the kid runs into him completely out of control. You can't reward a kid in that circumstance. But that's just an aside where I got a little mad.
Knowles will be hosting Miami Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock, TLC Double C. Good times. And, oh, by the way, the Canes edged Louisville 78-75 in overtime down in Coral Gables. 14 lead changes, 8 ties. Fun game to watch, and they win it. I'm kind of glad they won that game.
That was a fun game. Yes, so that they come here now,
not
with an axe to grind.
Yeah,
not
desperate, right. No.
Yeah, we had that game on at the ESPN Tallahassee Corner Pocket Executive Suite.
There,
and that was fun to watch throughout. There's no doubt. And we can stay there that's the cool thing about the suite, too.
Hang out for a little while,
for a little bit, so I did watch until the next media timeout, and that was a good game the whole way.
The top 6 teams in the ACC standings are in the RPI top 20. And 7th place, FSU, has 5 games against those top teams, Miami, Virginia, Louisville, Clemson twice, within the remaining 10 regular season games. This stretch, I cannot express how important it has been to win these 2 games.
Yep.
And how important it is going to be to win this game tomorrow or Saturday and to win the game against Wake Forest that follows.
Agreed.
If you get to 6-4, then you battle. You go to war here and you try to find a way to play 500 basketball in that stretch against all those great teams.
You got a game against,
are going to be okay because you got a game against Pitt still to play.
And BC at the end of the year here.
Yes. So if you get to 6-4, and let's just notch those 2 wins on the ledger here, the Pitt and BC games. That gets you to 8. Now you just got to make do with 1 or 2 of those other games, and you are set.
Yeah, NC State on the road, split with Clemson, that type of thing.
It's a hell of a stretch, but if you come out the other end of this stretch 3-0 at 6-4, buddy, it'll be chewing.
I'm with you. I look at the line schedule. That there's a lot of things I don't like about ESPN.com, but I like looking at the line schedule, and it's just you go down top to bottom, and you go, okay, can we get through here? Because then on this Saturday, we'll all be nervous. And if we can get through that.
This is the game here. This is the big one here.
You're going to lose these 2, so then that next Wednesday, you're going to be sweating bullets.
Well, if you lose this weekend, you're just going to be sweating, period, moving forward. I mean, you'll get the game maybe against Wake, and you'll be a game over 500, or you'll be 500 at that point before you enter the gauntlet, and then it's, I don't know. It's really difficult. So you win this weekend. Woo! Now we're cooking with gas.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
If it's time to top off, flush or refill your cooling system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for Prestone Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant, $12.99 a gallon. Plus, earn double O Rewards points for this purchase of Prestone Universal Premixed Antifreeze and Coolant at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples, the row of houses out of bounds on the right, the angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball, even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Miss putting together, I miss searching for records and then coming home and making tapes. This song reminds me of that, of my youth. Grabbing a Replacements record and like putting the needle down or listening to a tape and then recording for a friend. Couldn't wait to get on my Mongoose and race over. Hey, I made a tape for you. I got the Replacements record.
See, for us, that was burning CDs.
Yeah.
We would burn CDs and we would make mixes.
Yeah, and the mixes, I think the labor involved of intently having to work to put a song on tape, while not time efficient, was something that I missed just because it was a labor of love and it was an investment. It was a ritual.
Oh, I hear you. You know, just dragging and dropping tracks into
it's
a player.
impersonal, yeah.
Oh my God, no, it was just so difficult. I mean, that meant I cared about you. And if I gave you the Lucasfilm THX opening for the CD,
wow, that really was a big to do.
You know how hard that was? Brutal.
Let's cue it up because my friends need a plug and one that I'm happy to give them because they do such a good job at Wash Around the Clock.
Jeff, what's your plan with all of this laundry?
Not my job.
Excuse me, get off the couch already.
Wash Around the Clock's got it. More watching, less washing.
Ooh. Best husband ever.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Go to TallahasseeLaundry.com to find out what I'm talking about for my friends at Wash Around the Clock, your one-stop local laundry service. We brag on them on the regular because both Tom, myself, we use it. I know countless other people that have signed up and enjoy the service of Easy Laundry. It's a pickup delivery service right there at your house or at your office. And it's the ultimate inconvenience. I mean, there's really no better way than to say this. You're busy, I'm busy, we are all busy, and time is money. And so you can better utilize your time when you're not folding clothes. It's as simple as that. When you're not sitting there doing laundry, waiting for that to finish so that you could throw them in the dryer, waiting for that to come out so you could fold and hang up clothes and then put them back in the drawer and all that other stuff. They do this for you. It's very affordable. They come to you. And they'll work out your schedule, whether you want that done once a week, twice a week, or more. They also do dry cleaning and pressing. So really any service you need, Wash Around the Clock provides for you. And in fact, I'm getting clothes picked up tomorrow in the big red bag. This bag is sensational. It holds a ton, first of all, so you can get a lot done at one time. But it's also sealed, and it's got a liner where they can wash, and keep it clean so they don't put piling clothes back into a dirty bag.
Yeah, exactly.
And anyhow, they'll come pick it up, and I'll get my clothes back early next week. Perfect.
Oh, they're eco-friendly, too, because you get those wire hangers like you do with the cleaners, but you can give them right back to them, and then they put them right back in circulation. And that's a program that they want you to do. So they're conscientious about things as well. But the great part about everything they do is that you don't have to think about it ever again. It's first class. Like, I haven't ever had where I open up the bag, I go, what in the world
hell
is
has
this?
happened here? I got some guy named Joe
Yeah, who did it this week? There is a
No.
standard, and they live up to the standard. We've had it long enough now that, man, it's just, I can't imagine having to do it all myself again.
Right. I agree with you. It's good stuff. Go check it out for yourself, and it's TallahasseeLaundry.com. And you'll go there, you'll see the service, Easy Laundry. And they got student wash, dry, fold services as well, commercial laundry, linen, all that stuff. So whatever your needs are, basically. All right, well, this is tonight it's hockey in terms of the more watching, less washing, and or college basketball, as I've been saying. Maybe for the weekend, it's a lot of college basketball as well. But this is kind of a weekend I enjoy where, you don't have football, you don't have the Super Bowl. A lot of watching for me is going to be my son. Player evaluations this week, Tom.
Really?
Big weekend, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll see where he's at.
So he knows what level he's going to be on, that kind of thing?
We'll find out, yeah.
So buddy.
We'll see if
you nervous?
Probably more than he is.
That's what. That's where I was going.
Yeah. Well, he's good but not great. He's right in the middle there, so he's not going to embarrass himself, and I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for him to take that next step.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. No, for me, watching will be tomorrow morning, catching the end of the Aussie semifinal where Federer is taking on an unseeded player.
That's right.
You saw that Nadal had to retire earlier this week.
I did see that. These
Longevity,
guys
man.
cannot stay healthy.
Well, Nadal especially.
Well, Djokovic especially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That freaking guy. His career's over.
So
a mess.
If Federer wins, then he's going to be playing Cilic for the Aussie
You're
Open.
not getting bored with this? Like this resurgence of Federer? You're holding on for dear life because you know
I'm
once
team
it's over?
Fed.
I know you're team Fed. I'm getting a little tired of team Fed now. I appreciated him. I always have. Great guy. Seems to be. We're ready for this to move on now.
Really?
Come on, man. He's won forever. Let's
blame
move
the. Well, no. If Djokovic was still winning, you'd say, well, I'm tired of Djokovic.
I would, but he's not.
But nobody's risen up. You got to have somebody rise up and take down the king. I'm sure the quality of tennis he's playing is not akin to what he was doing 6-7 years ago. It's just that the field isn't, come up to go get him.
And I respect the hell out of him. He's the greatest of all time, and the numbers and everything else dictate that and suggest as much, and that's great. I'm ready for something new and exciting, and he's not that. So I'm ready for the next wave.
And when it's over, it'll just be done. So I am cherishing every major / Grand Slam that he's in the final of.
Speaking of over, okay, so it always interests me, and we have this discussion, the Hall of Fame voting for baseball. When a guy's career is over, it's over, and yet somehow the percentages change. Sometimes they get 15%, then it goes up to 30, then it's 44, then it's 58, then it's 62. Well, what happened? Did he play a year that I'm unaware of in the time that he quit and came back or something? What's happened here? Why is this changing drastically? There's one guy who and I get from everything I read that he must have been difficult. Not criminal, but difficult. Just difficult to deal with. And members of the press love to leverage their weight. Those who have voters for the Hall of Fame. But I just can't figure how in the world Jeff Kent is at 14% and Craig Biggio's in the Hall of Fame. If Craig Biggio's in the Hall of Fame, Jeff Kent's in the first time he has a chance to get in because he's better than Craig Biggio. More home runs, better average, more RBI, everything other than defense.
Well, and being hit by pitches, sir, and that matters a lot.
I guess. I mean, think about this. Jeff Kent is the career home run leader by second baseman. He has more RBIs than Vlad Guerrero, who won and won an MVP, by the way, I might add. It's strange to me. Now, he's got 5 years left, and there's been 16 players elected during his 5 years, so maybe a less crowded ballot will allow him to get in, and, he could be a guy like Reigns or somebody like that. But, I mean, that is kind of nuts to me that guy is spat upon the way that he is, and there are players who play the same position or are infielders. Like, I was thinking about today, I was reading an article. So Omar Vizquel, right? Omar Vizquel hits you 250, 260 and get everything.
Yeah.
Who you taking, Omar Vizquel or Jeff Kent when you're drafting a team?
Well, you take Kent. Yeah, there's not much
debate
point, about that.
Right? So what are we doing? It's crazy the way they treat this guy.
He also won an MVP, right? So
yeah. It's not close. It's not close.
Yeah, his average season in his career, and again, this is steroid era stuff for a lot of it, but Jeff Kent's average season, he's hitting you 20 bombs a year. He's driving in 100 runs. I mean, that's crazy what he does in his prime. And he'd get on base and ops over 850, right? And Biggio would ops not even close to 800.
Let me tell you, this is not close. I mean, it's not close. This isn't one of those very debatable issues, I don't think, with Jeff Kent. I mean, if Biggio's in, Kent is in, period.
Yeah, 27 bombs, 107 driven in, and he'd ops at over 850. That's his average season for his career. And if you look at compared to Craig Biggio, well, you get is that right? 3 home runs? He'd give you 3 home runs?
No, Biggio hit more than 3 home runs.
That's his 162 average. No, I'm talking about his average season.
Biggio's average season was 3 home runs? That can't be correct. Is that a misprint? That's not right.
That's 17. There you go.
I was going to say there is no.
The columns are offline.
I was just about to say that's
17 and 67. He give you 17 and 67.
You actually made me second guess what I thought I watched.
No.
I was like, I know Biggio.
I'm looking at a crooked freaking screen, so it's off. But it's 17 and 67 is what he give you. You need opposite 796.
Right. No, he's not Jeff Kent. Not close.
No.
It's so anyhow. Listen, we do this all the time, but this is the stuff that drives people nuts who care about baseball, and it gets real petty. It gets awfully petty because the voters hate Jeff Kent because he was a jerk. By all accounts, he was a jerk, but that's not part of it. That's not what we're doing here. I would also note that I really love. If you want to spend some time on this stuff and just talk about stories and just talk about where guys come from and where they finish their career and the unlikeliness of unlikelihood of them ever making it to the major leagues, let alone make the Hall of Fame, Tim Kurkjian does incredible work on the background of a lot of these players. And Vlad Guerrero's story is incredible. I don't know how many people got to see or hear Kurkjian talking about Vlad Guerrero getting in. Obviously, Chipper was a no-brainer, and that was easy, and it's kind of fun going back to watch the highlights. Of Chipper.
Yeah, just so much fun to watch Chipper Jones' career.
His first career home run was against the Mets.
Of course it was, and so was everyone after that in his career. Every single one.
It was in the 9th of a tie ball game, by the way.
Sure, it was.
It was just setting the tone.
Boy, they weren't trailing. He must have been feeling lazy that day.
It was just setting the tone. But anyhow, so that was a no-brainer. And to a large extent, I think probably Vlad Guerrero was a no-brainer too. But statistically speaking, you can make arguments for people over Vlad Guerrero, I might add. He's just a lot of fun.
The best bad ball hitter I've ever seen.
It's incredible. And the highlight reels reveal all of that. But we do this stuff with the pettiness. And I got you. There are some real conflicted emotions and decisions that have to be made that aren't so cut and dry when it comes to players like Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens, depending on where you stand on the steroid stuff. And some guys it is the gray area, and it can be difficult. But sometimes we just need to boil these votes down to, especially in modern era guys that we saw play. Like, I don't comment much on these guys from the 60s that I didn't see play, or the 50s and 40s, certainly not. I'll go look at numbers and see what's comparable, but then you need to read for context, like, well, what was the era like? I mean, what was their peak career? Were they the best player at their position or in the top 2 for an extended period of time, and the numbers were just different then? You need to look at things like that.
Yeah.
What kind of ballpark did he play in? I mean, good Lord, if you played out in San Francisco back in the day with the cold and the wind, Candlestick was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's how hard it was to hit a ball out of there, and then you look at Willie McCovey's numbers and you go, good Lord, what would he have done in name your ballpark, right?
Sure.
So that all matters. But here's a good example. It looks like, certainly that Mussina is going to get in. But I'm telling you now, we saw Mussina's career, and he was very good. I got no problem with him getting in. If he's in, Curt Schilling is in. We're done here.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? And I get Curt Schilling has said and done stupid things post-career. But in his career, he was great, and there's nobody you would give the ball to ahead of him.
Yeah, I think
in the postseason.
Yeah, his postseason resume puts him ahead of Mussina.
Oh,
right?
by a lot.
Yeah.
But by a lot, he was Philadelphia's ace. He was Boston's ace. He was Arizona. Well, he was co-ace with Randy Johnson in Arizona.
The co-MVP. Yeah.
Well, what are we doing? I mean, that if Mussina's in, Schilling is in.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny to talk to old timers like my dad, right, about things like this, because he went to a Brooklyn Dodgers game and he saw Jackie Robinson play. That's how far back my dad goes,
right?
Which was crazy. I never really thought of it until this winter, and I told the story recently, but we looked it up on Baseball Reference. I found the game.
You found the game. Yeah.
He remembered there was one home run, and it was to left field. He was 6, but it was his first game, so he remembered little things. And so I found it. He said it was July. He was 6 years old, so I was able to go to 1954 and check out July. And I found a game against the Giants. They were playing the New York Giants.
Right.
Yeah, and there was one home run hit to left field. I was like, here's the game you're at.
Did you give him the box score? Did you go look at? I mean, when did you?
I showed it to him. Yeah, he got nostalgic for a minute there.
I was going to say you need to frame that and surprise him. And
he goes, it was incredibly packed that day too, and you could look at attendance numbers.
See that
and there were a couple of games against the Giants that weren't well attended, so I knew I had a good starting point. But I asked him, the point being, I asked him about, who's the best that you saw, like in their prime. And without a doubt,
Mays.
He says Mays.
It's not close.
He says nobody could fly like Willie Mays could.
Well, Willie Mays is
tracking
a different
a fly ball,
he's a
running
different
bases,
different kind of guy. Listen to the great players of that time in the way that they talk about Willie Mays. Like the other Hall of Famers, listen to the way they talk about Willie Mays.
He says it the same way he says Jimmy Brown. He goes, now Jimmy Brown was...
Yeah, well, and I think if you go back and listen to and read what the players who played against and with Jim Brown had to say at the time that he was at his peak, yeah, it's a different deal. When you have fellow Hall of Famers in their sport speak with the reverence about a player that they do, like Jim Brown or Willie Mays in baseball, then you know, because these are the best. These are the creme de la creme of a sport whose legends carry on over the centuries, and they're talking about a guy like they're little kids.
Yeah.
You should have seen Mays.
Right. But what's crazy about, where we grow up, at least my generation, I don't know, you got to see balanced football, but now it's a quarterback-centric world, and it has been for some time. He doesn't bring up quarterbacks when he asks my pop about the NFL. He's like,
but it wasn't,
it was Jimmy Brown. Because it wasn't a quarterback-driven league, but that was the superstar of the time, and yet he didn't have, 16, 17-year career. They were able to see brilliance for 5-6 real good prime years and just say, that's the best I've ever seen. Nowadays, longevity is almost as important as production itself and dominance.
It's fun to do that, by the way, because if you look at a guy like Johnny Unitas, I pulled up his stats while you were talking because he came to mind. I mean, you're talking about the great quarterbacks of all time, some telling you, this is the guy that was dubbed the man with the golden arm. You look at his career with the Colts and you pull up the numbers, well, by way of comparison, they're not impressive in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if you just look at numbers, you can see that he doesn't compare to average quarterbacks from this era. But the game was so completely different, and that's why that context matters. There are people who saw him play. They know what the standard of the league was at the time that he entered it and what he did to transcend that and to usher in a future generation of throwing offenses and quarterbacks that change the games and thus the numbers.
Are there particular athletes that, because your dad and my dad are contemporaries, they're about 25 days apart in age. Are there people that your dad will always gravitate towards if you bring up a sport and an era that he saw? Like my dad, his Mount Rushmore, it's Gibson, Koufax, in no particular order, Jim Brown, Willie Mays, and maybe Nolan Ryan too.
My dad is biased because he'll bring up the great players that played for his favorite teams. But he doesn't deny the greatness of the other players. It's just if you ask my dad about baseball, he's going to bring up a San Francisco or New York Giant because that was his team and still is. If you bring up football, he's going to bring up somebody from the Dolphins because the 72 Dolphins, near and dear to his heart. He was in Europe at that time, and that's why I was born over there. He would sit and listen to the radio for updates on that season in his little, I guess it was like a little office, and he had all of his Dolphin stuff there. So he'll talk about, the great players of that era. And then, we get into discussions about boxing. I think everybody will talk about Muhammad Ali with that reverence in terms of greatness and those kinds of things. There's one guy that to this day, and baseball does this, you quickly enter into the realm of nostalgia. Whenever Hall of Fame voting comes around, it gets you thinking about other players and their place in the game, and that gets you talking about old-time players across sports, which is great. Aren't too many sports that do that, by the way. Baseball is the one to me. Boxing a little bit too. But that said, I wish, just as somebody who was not alive when he was around, and our parents never got to see him either, I don't think. Not really anyhow. Jim Thorpe is a guy that I would have loved to have seen. The legend of Jim Thorpe. He's an Olympic gold medalist. He played everything and was allegedly the best at anything he ever did, whether it was boxing or track or football or anything. There was nobody that could compare to Jim Thorpe. I remember there was this great debate years ago about the best athletes in the 20th century, and they were just going through, and it was funny because the writers, some of the old writers that were on the panel, this was a debate going on in the 1980s that I remember. The old writers, like those old Chicago writers, where the original shows were built around in a dark room, smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, talking about, well, I saw in 1947, blew my mind. Those guys, they would talk about Jim Thorpe. All of them would be like, Jim Thorpe. Never seen anything like it. Not before or since. Jim Thorpe. I wish
almost like they had PTSD or something.
Right. Like, if you saw Jim Thorpe, you're ruined for life. There's nothing you can see better than Jim Thorpe. So anyhow, I don't know. That's always fun. I was thinking about this the other day. Who's the best baseball player you ever saw?
Me? With my own eyes, or
it's going to differ.
That I wish I saw.
It's going to differ for you and me because of our 16-year difference.
I mean, what Bonds did was pretty freaking incredible.
So I knew you were going to say Bonds, and here's why, and that's good.
No, it would be Ken Griffey Jr., though. Griffey was just breathtaking. What Bonds did was stupid, especially in his latter years. As
Yeah,
you might
early
imagine.
2001, 2002, when he starts
got
cheating.
like a toothpick, and he covers the entirety of the zone. You can't pitch to the guy. But Ken Griffey Jr. and all 5 tools, when I was a kid, I was never more awestruck with anything in my
looked effortless, didn't it?
Non-hockey watching life. Yeah,
both lefty swingers too. It's to watch, those guys.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just the way he would track a fly ball and the speed he had. I mean, he was just he exuded, "I'm bigger than life," right? But then he'd deliver on it so often. That's why Tiger is a phenomenon beyond golf fans, because he commands your attention. He demands.
Rose to the
moments. Right, that you put these expectations on him. That's everything about what he was. Hello, world. And yet he exceeded it somehow.
Yeah, LeBron James high on the list. He and Jordan are 2 guys that we both saw play, and I saw every second of Jordan's career. I remember it in North Carolina, too. So one thing I will say, those guys come into play when we're having these grand discussions about athleticism and dominance and transcendent performances and their place. Griffey is high on the list. It's a good one. It's interesting because we're on the eve of Florida State baseball starting, and Florida State baseball fans love to talk, and I'm one of them, about the great players that have come through this program. And there was the fun discussion about J.D. Drew's great seasons or best season by way of comparison to Buster Posey's. And because I've seen both play, both of their careers, I was here to say that it's not close. J.D.'s best season was better than Buster Posey's, and it's unbelievable. But that said, I was thinking about Barry Bonds because the debate regarding him and steroids, those percentages keep going up. They've gone up each of the first 4 years, right? So
he's in the mid-50s as of this year's.
Chances are I think he's going to get in. And I heard something interesting that I thought maybe we hadn't talked about. Could it be that the discussion would center around the effectiveness, the efficacy of the drugs they used and what it did for them relative to their talent? So if you were going to be a Hall of Famer based on what we know your ability and numbers to be prior to using steroids, should you not just elect them into the Hall of Fame knowing that the second half of that career is mind-bogglingly stupid because of the drugs, but that you were on a path to the Hall of Fame and may have been a Hall of Famer, quite frankly, before you ever took a drug? If that's the case, for example, Barry's in easy, but Sammy Sosa would not get in because the drugs for Sammy Sosa made him something he was not. Namely, he became a Hall of Famer because of the drugs. Mark McGwire became who he was because of the drugs, so they wouldn't get in. Barry Bonds was going to get in regardless. Roger Clemens is an interesting debate because if you can define when you think he started, and for me it's Toronto. It's Toronto. It's clearly Toronto. His career is on the downswing. He gets Toronto. Suddenly he's dominant again, and he ends up being better than he was prior. That's the start of his resurgence and domination again, which means you can call into question whether or not Roger Clemens would have gone to the Hall of Fame if he had just played out a natural career.
Sure, like, for example, Johan Santana, I think he got eliminated this year, but who was more dominant for 3 or 4 years? That's a career arc that's more typical of somebody who you don't revere.
Right, who's not,
Rodgers,
who doesn't somehow find it to get the fountain of youth in his late 30s.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but I'm saying, that's an interesting debate because if somebody was going to get in anyhow, and the argument is this: people have been cheating in one way or another forever in baseball, whether it's throwing a spitball or taking greenies or whatever for an afternoon game after a night game, whatever it might be. So folks have been cheating. It's not a matter of the cheating. It's about the effectiveness of what was done to their career, the efficacy of the drugs.
Yeah.
Right? So there are some guys out there, you go, he was going in regardless. But that guy right there, his whole career is based around steroids.
Yeah.
He's not in.
But I go back and forth on this. My opinion has evolved from a place of zero tolerance to life is, in the grayscale a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, once we found out the percentages of people that were on it at the same time they were,
Right.
it changes the discussion.
I hear that argument that you're making he would have gotten in anyway, and I'm like, well, I hear you and I understand that, but that's just kind of stupid. But then I also think, well, it's a hallway with plaques. So that's kind of stupid too. So can we just let them be in the hallway with the plaques, that we all like to go visit? I know it's about status and legacy and all that kind of stuff, but truthfully.
No, you're talking about the physical Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We're talking about what it represents, though. I think, to me.
I would just put the entire era in a wing of its own, and then you have Hall of Famers from that era and just be done with it.
Right.
That's it. I don't think that's very hard. It's like, okay, so you don't get to rest your plaque next to or around Willie Mays or Hank Aaron or Babe Ruth or whoever you want to list. You have your own wing in Cooperstown. You are a Hall of Famer, but you are in the wing for the steroid
For
era.
the steroid
because
era.
we can't know. And rather than keep you all out, let's vote on what we know, what we saw.
Yeah.
And then here you are in your own designated place.
It's just I like the idea of there being a little bit more nuance in saying that, look, man, this guy wouldn't get a whisper of a discussion about being a Hall of Famer if he hadn't cheated. So we're just not going to let him in. Whereas this guy, and we can't.
But how do you know that? What if Sammy Sosa's career had 3 or 4 years prior to the steroid era and he hit 25, 30 bombs and he hit?
Because go look at his career numbers. You can pinpoint when this all changes very radically for him. He's in no way a Hall of Famer, and then he suddenly is.
Okay, but then I would in turn make this argument, for what Barry Bonds did for much of his career before, allegedly, if you believe he started
in 2001, 2002.
Whatever it was, that he started that late. Okay.
I think that's true based on the numbers. I think it is.
Okay. How many careers would have been lengthened by steroids of potential Hall of Famers? The same way Rodgers was. Because the problem is you don't know exactly when they're going to start. So if they had 5 dominant years, does that make a Hall of Famer? Typically not.
No.
So, you see what I'm saying? Like, the starting and ending points. If you have a clear-cut nuance for Barry, does that mean there's a Barry Bonds exception because his career went so long before we all believe he began to take performance-enhancing drugs? Well, what if you don't know when a guy started or stopped?
Well, you often don't. And what if a guy, and this is where it is murky, like what if a guy is a borderline Hall of Famer and he has 2 seasons that are a little bit, they'd be viewed as outliers. You'd have to say something might have been going on there in these 2 seasons.
Right.
Career spikes across the board at the age of 37, drawing an eyebrow raised from me. But, he comes back down to earth and plays another 5 years with numbers that are plausible based on what he had done prior to that 2-year spike. And you'd say, so maybe that guy was pulling an Andy Pettit. He got hurt, he used some steroids, but was well on his way. Perhaps, it gets difficult. It gets difficult.
That is so subjective. Like, I don't know.
Well, on the guys where it's pretty obvious.
Or
they admitted it or got busted.
What I've come to understand this Hall of Fame debate to be largely, and I know we're having an honest talk here about the Hall of Fame, but it's largely, for national purposes, a discussion when times are slow. That's what it's evolved into. It used to mean something more than it does now.
I think so too, but also... But the reason that it doesn't mean as much anymore is because a lot of the numbers that were hallowed in baseball have been made a mockery of by the steroid era, which is why we sit here and
So do you let them in because you've already devalued the whole process?
Well, I mean, you let some people in who I think we know should not have gotten in if we're going to base it around the idea that we're pretty sure they use steroids.
Yeah.
And once you did that, yes, you bastardized it all.
I just give them their own wing and be done with it. And here's the era.
That might be the thing to do now.
Why can't you just separate the entire museum with Hall of Fames for different time periods?
You could build a wing that is represented by a syringe, and then it could be gold. This giant syringe that you walk under as you go into the wing. I'm not kidding.
Have a pre-integration wing. Have a pre-integration ring with the white players, the black players from the eras who were legendary, and there is their time period in wing. Then you have, 1940 whatever through 1960.
Jackie Robinson on.
Right, or then you till you lower the mound after the year of the pitcher, and then you have that era.
Yeah,
and then you cut it right up to the steroid era.
You may end up having to do it. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, fair enough. Come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
I don't venture out. Big Daddy J doesn't like to venture out on Thursdays in the NHL.
You got a full slate tonight, 15 games because of the All-Star break this weekend.
Yeah, and I'm going to turn to you on this note because I was aware of that, and I'm excited about how much hockey I can watch tonight. Along with college basketball, man. I've been watching a lot of college basketball, but really quickly, I don't know what to make of it. How do teams play? I have not studied it the way, or I've been focused in on it the way that you have over the years.
Yeah.
Right before the All-Star break. I don't mean last week or the beginning of this week. I mean traditionally right before the weekend of the All-Star game. Are these guys checked out, or do you see a lot of bad goals, or do you see a lot of sloppy play and low scoring? Do you know?
Well, it depends on the circumstances of the teams. Now, I don't have
the desperate ones trying to get a point going into break feel better about themselves.
Well, there's a lot of teams, the way the NHL is built, it's a salary cap league, too. We talk about it with the NFL all the time, but, I mean, there's a lot of points to be jockeying for tonight, and typically you kind of go all out in a game like this.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. That's all I need to hear.
Okay.
They're going to play hard.
That is, yes.
All right.
In my experience of watching Lightning hockey along with a little bit of national, but just watching my team before the break, be it Olympic or All-Star, usually on a night like tonight, you kind of air it out a little bit.
Well, and it's a fun one tonight because we get Philadelphia, and screw you, Matthew. But so for me, Big Daddy J, this is a big night.
Mm-hmm.
This is Red Russian.
There's a lot of goals there.
There's a lot of goals to be had here, and the over-unders on 15 games largely sit. All but one game is 5.5. It is your traditional line.
Okay.
There's 1-6. Everything else is 5.5. Toronto and Dallas is 6.
Mm-hmm.
But my rule is my rule. I'm either going all under or all over.
Ooh, so I hear you.
And this feels like an all-over kind of night.
Okay, all over.
All
okay.
over.
All right.
Oh, a lot of goals being scored this year in the NHL. A lot of overs, buddy. 15 games. Just need a little 8 and 7 on the overs.
Okay.
Big Daddy J and the Red Russians flow for the lot of you.
Okay.
You like the over, or do you like all unders?
I'm timid on that. Last night, I think there were 2 unders.
The two
games that were
Big
played.
Daddy wasn't involved last night, Tom.
I know, but you're looking at trends, and there was a 7-5 on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's a winning night.
It is a winning night. Typically, you can run away with such things, but Tuesday was played a little bit tighter.
So I want to show you how there are no jinxes in gambling. Either you do or you don't. You get it or you don't. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is me talking to the hockey gods and the wager folks out there. I have yet to have a losing night in the NHL this year. I haven't had one. Now, I've only had 10 nights. Big Daddy J has been feeling it and only been getting after it off and on.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it's 8 nights. I've had 8 nights. I'm 8-0, no losing night.
Okay.
So we're going all in before the break on a 9-0 first half.
Yeah, but are you betting over-under on each game, or are you doing total goals for the night? What are you doing?
No,
there's a difference.
Now
there.
I did do that, but I won that by what was it, a goal and a half or something like that? Barely.
Mm-hmm.
That was close. No, I'm going each game
over across the board.
Potato chips,
15 potato chips worth, or 15 bags of potato chips for 15 different games. All overs.
Yeah, the bags will be more bountiful, but yes, the 15 games is an accurate number. Yes, yeah. 15 games. We're
15
going
overs.
all over. Do I got 8 overs? I got to come out of the night with 8 overs, and I win.
Okay.
You gonna come in here with me? The water's warm. Big Daddy says, "Come on,
Big Daddy
everybody."
Big Daddy J didn't let me in on this when it started. So if I come in and you don't win, then I'm to blame.
Announcing it on the damn air all the time. I mean, I'm not like hiding it from you. We're out here. We're in the open. Our game's got no shame. Big Daddy's putting it into the middle. Here we go. All overs. People want to know before we sign off.
I can't endorse it. I can't.
Well, I don't need – I need a logical, calculated decision. It's not your money. Don't worry about Big Daddy's money.
Okay.
We're going to be all right.
Yeah.
Whether we win or lose tonight, we're going to be all right.
Yeah, but you're asking me my opinion. I
am asking you your
I think
opinion.
these games will be played pretty tight tonight. More playoff style.
Okay. Intensely played games are a lot of 3-2 games.
That's yeah. That's
so you want to go all unders. You're telling me go all in on the under tonight.
That's what I would do, I think.
That's what you would do. I'll tweet out the answer. Big Daddy will get an answer.
Okay.
Right there. I'll tell. All you're going to see out there for those in the know, you'll just see, all right, Big Daddy J is going with the over or Big Daddy J is going with the under. We're going to find out when I get off the air, and Tom and I can break this down.
We'll talk about it.
We're going to have to talk about it because that was so iffy.
Well, I got to look at the matchups, so I haven't looked at the 15 games.
I've looked at the matchups. I like them. They feel like an over. Oh, I was wrong about something, though. That Islanders Golden Knights contest over under is 6.5.
Exactly.
I may have to break my rule there. 6.5.
That's NYI, man. That's what they do.
I know.
The Islanders
Good
score.
Lord, man.
Vegas has been incredible.
It's plus 105 on the under. Big Daddy's looking at it. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Be well.